So you put
Fry like bacon, you freshman fucks.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Nerditude Movie Podcast. I'm here with your humble, lovely, spooky co-host. My name's Lewis. I'm here with Matt and Alex.
Hello.
And where, I mean, if you don't want to be spooky, that's up to you.
I'm older than 11. I'm just saying.
Okay, spooky ooky. But we're back for our fourth week of the spooky season. For all of this month, if you're new to this podcast, we've been doing a theme for each week. The first week we did classics. The second week we did remakes. The third week we did anthologies. You'll get those episodes in 5 years when Matt finishes editing them. This week,
we won't go into it.
This week we're doing B movies. You can't go wrong with B movies.
No.
They're my favorite genre of horror films. And I think I have an appreciation of shitty horror movies maybe more than the two of you put together.
I appreciate that, but as I've gotten older, like as when I was younger, like it was just like I will eat any horror movie, even if it was filmed on a fucking Razor flip phone in the backyard of some guy's house. I'll watch it. When I worked at Blockbuster, but now it's like I don't have time, man.
I find horror movies on Amazon, and like my wife just looks at like what I'm scrolling at, and she's like, "Just please don't play that." And I'm like, "This one's about a tire killing people. I'm playing it."
Good stuff.
Yeah.
But babe, come on. You mean to tell me a werewolf who can turn into a vampire doesn't sound cool? Like, come on.
So for this week, we chose 3 movies because for the month of October, we're doing triple features. This week, we are doing a film called Terrifier, one called Wolfcop. It's about a wolf cop. And the last one is called Satan's Little Helper.
Phenomenal.
So they're all B movies. That's probably the best.
Yeah, I mean,
best way to describe them.
So yeah, we should probably give them a little bit more leverage in this one and say we'll give them the review, but we'll also give them reviews in the B movie scope. So like we'll have 2 reviews for each. How many
Yeah,
I think so. I think how many hot dogs just in general, and how many hot dogs on the B movie scale.
These are gonna be like how many lunchroom cafeteria hot dogs.
Yeah,
these are
not
the under.
This is like the type of hot dog where you don't have to ask for relish, ketchup, or mustard because there's packets full of all 3 in the same one for you, like that type of ghetto. You take it.
They're all gray colored.
Isn't this supposed to be green? It's a fluorescent green.
So yeah,
onions, right?
I love onions on hot dogs.
Bro. No, the onions are green.
Oh no. That's stomach issues.
It doesn't need reminding, but we are not professional film critics, so take what we say for face value because we don't care about your opinion. But leave a like and rate us on all of the things you hear us on. So we're going to start with the first movie, which is Terrifier. this movie, it's a great indie B horror movie, I guess you can say.
I mean, it
Um,
depends on what you say. Okay, so we haven't really established that either. There's
What a
indie and
B
then
movie
there's
is,
B
yeah.
movie. Like indie
Yeah.
is low budget art house type film, like art house horror, in my opinion. B movie is goofy, generally really violent. Kind of one of those movies that you watch and you're like, no wonder this isn't rated. In Australia, it's banned.
And they recycle as much as they can. Well,
It's
usually,
And
borderline snuff film.
And like, yeah, exactly. Like a good movie, a good B movie knows it's a B movie. Like it understands the film that they're making, and we'll go into it. But movies like Wolfcop kind of embrace it,
Yeah,
where
exactly.
it's like we're low budget, we're cheesy, it's made for this. Let's just go full out with the budget we have. And there's one scene in that movie that we'll go into, where you know the entire budget went into, like, yeah.
it's usually the locations, right?
Yeah. Oh,
No, so
many
a lot of
locations in
them-
that movie.
A lot of them will blow their wad on like the cool promotional poster, and you watch it, and you're like, "This is not even in the fucking movie."
They paid some dude $1,000 for artwork. And it's like,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
could have gone into any part of this movie. Like donuts for the fucking cast while they're on break.
We could have fed them for a week.
So, Terrifier, this movie came out in. It has 2 release dates, so I'm assuming it was kind of a special showing and then kind of a later, wider audience. So October 2016 also has a release date of March 2018. This movie for me was very underground. I discovered this movie very late.
Yeah, I was a
You
Netflix
have
discoverer of it.
yeah.
I watched it for the first time this week.
So runtime.
Fair enough.
Runtime on this 86 minutes. It's a pretty short film.
There's only
I
so
found
much
a
of it you can
budget.
take.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's this film is definitely an acquired taste. There are a couple scenes where you can easily check out if you're not if you're light.
You
light
thought
in
Saw
the
was
stomach.
bad.
So budget for this $100,000. I couldn't, obviously there's no box office that I could find. This movie, the character in this movie, Art the Clown, was kind of born out of a Kickstarter campaign that produced a short called
Short.
All
That's what I
Hallows
saw
Eve,
that. Well, I didn't see it, but I saw.
which is bad. Not even like a B movie. You could be like, yeah, it was bad. No, it was bad.
It's like a college
and-
film, basically.
Yeah,
did it
exactly.
for
I
actually
made
made
one of
they
those,
made
which someday this YouTube channel may see. Well, the
Oh,
world
yeah,
may
I'm-
never know.
I might link it one day.
maybe we'll do a commentary track for it. That would be great.
Oh, that would. You know what? I hate that idea because it's a good idea. Fuck. Oh,
Um,
what the hell is that?
so this movie was born out of
Hold on.
2 short.
You got a number?
I'm hearing music. I don't know where from. Sorry. We're 27 minutes in.
Is it the Facebook video you're hearing?
I don't
Phantom
even have Facebook open.
Facebook video.
Oh, you know what it is? Shit, I'm sorry, guys. People are following me on Twitch.
You gotta leave this in.
Really? You want me? All right, we'll continue. I'm sorry. So, behind the scenes, the software I use is the same software I use for my streaming, and a couple people randomly just followed in my
No.
Halloween
Matt is not being honest. He's a paranoid schizophrenic. He's been it for 30 years now.
31.
Oh yeah, 31. Sorry.
You can't not count the infantile years.
So back to this movie, Matthew.
Sorry.
For cast, we have this movie stars no one that you know, so I'm not really going to go into anyone. The main villain, Art the Clown, is played by David Howard Thornton, who I believe has been Art the Clown in a couple other projects.
Yeah.
And they are making a sequel to this movie, so
Which,
if you
Nice.
enjoy
if they
it,
give him a little bit more budget, I'm down for. Like, I like, and here's the thing, because I didn't realize it was only $100,000 that they made the movie for. That's quite impressive, because the nice thing about this movie is, yes, it is it's a sick fucking slasher movie, but there's also some really cool arty kind of shots. Like, one of my favorite scenes is the beginning of the diner. Like, that to me just sets such a creepy tone of like if I was in the diner and he was looking at me like that, like, I'm ready to throw down immediately because I'm worried he's gonna butcher me to death if I don't.
That's something that I thought of as soon as I saw that. I was like, "Fuck, dude."
Like, what would I do if this motherfucker was staring at me? I don't even know.
If he kept
I'd
staring
go-
at me, that'd be a big fucking problem.
It would be an immediate, like, I'm always carrying something. But I'm not getting cut up from my crotch down. Tell you that much.
but that is like a Chicago thing, though. You're at a diner late at night. There's some creepy dude in like face paint
The
just
fuck you
staring
looking
at
at?
you.
Oh god,
That-
they actually have stories of things like Taco Burrito King on Western and
Yes.
Addison.
Yes, definitely there.
Sitting
I was
in a
about to
booth at 2 a.m. and happened to look over. And this dude's staring. Mm-hmm. Maybe it is a
Yeah,
Chicago thing. Maybe it's just
or you
a
or you
poor
or you get that one
middle-class
person
thing.
with his you get that one person with his hand inside a secret pocket, and it just keeps going like
Secret
this.
pocket.
Always. Yeah,
And it just
always.
keeps going like that. And you're like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
I have told my wife before, you are not from Chicago if you have not been on a CTA bus late at night and there's some homeless dude just jacking it in the back of the bus.
Yeah. Or when they just like,
Or
on
the
the
blue
train where they
line.
piss. They're just like,
Yeah.
fuck it, and they're standing right there trying to balance their drunk selves while they piss. Mm-hmm. Anyways, back to Terrifier and Lewis. Go.
There's these two drunk girls, and
The movie starts in a diner, and they're trying to eat some
Actually-
delicious food.
No, it starts with the talk show host.
I
Yeah,
like
that's right, that's-
I like
yeah,
that,
okay.
that gave me like an old school feel to it when they did that. I
Yeah.
like that.
Very reminiscent almost of the Joker.
Ah.
A little bit. Not like the same form, but you know what I mean. Like, it's got that, you're literally dealing with a clown. It's kind of, I don't know. I didn't even think about that parallel when I watched it, to be honest with you.
But are we talking about the scene with the TV sitting there and it's going through the TV show?
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like cutting through.
Yeah, I really did like that how it opened up. That was pretty fucking cool.
Side note, I actually have an idea to make a Joker spoof film, but make it about Curly. And like the whole movie from Three Stooges. And what it would take is I wouldn't shave my beard, but I would shave my head again for it. And I would do, like, you wouldn't know it's about Curly the whole time. And then, like, at the end of it, like, it's like we splice in De Niro. And he's like, what do you, and he's like, do me a favor. He's like, he's like, call me Curly. And he turns around and he goes, whoop, 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 and then he walks out there. I think that would be fucking funny. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, but now we can't do it because
You think that's going to go in?
You just gave it all up, man.
I'm literally going to, I think I'm going to bleep it all out.
Would it be the Will Cecil Curly or would it be like the original Curly?
Oh no, I forgot
Michael
there was the
Chiklis
Will
Curly.
Sasso
It's
Curly.
the Michael Chiklis Curly.
No.
No, it's got to be somebody new, dude. No Will Sasso Curly. The John Goodman Curly, but the new John Goodman that's all like skinny and weird looking. He lost all that weight and he's in the Connors, and you look at him, you're like, oh.
I believe we're getting way off topic here. Let's get back to Terrifier.
So, anyways, this movie, I caught it wrong, but I believe it begins with the end, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't catch that till the second time I watched it.
Neither. Well, I didn't catch it until I got to the end. So, sorry.
That makes
I
sense.
didn't catch it till it happened.
We're a professional podcast, in case anyone is wondering.
This episode is not sponsored by anything.
No, but it did catch me off like halfway through when it was going on. I was like, okay, so it did catch me in the middle of the movie where I was trying to figure out.
I actually really like movies that do that too. Like, that's why I really like the anthology movies that wrap around, where like Trick or Treat that comes around, and it's like you're like, oh, okay. And I don't know, maybe it's just because it's easy. It's easy for like the brain to connect the dots for those sorts of things. So when the movie just kind of gives it to you, it's almost like junk food for the horror movie senses, where it's like, I knew that before it happened, but I'm glad it confirmed it.
So in a way, this
Yeah.
can be kind of like a really bad anthology movie because it does have a little bit of story for every single person that's introduced in there.
Actually,
Everybody does have a reason why they're
I didn't
there.
think about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the way, and I thought this when I was watching it, it definitely feels like a movie that was a series of short films
Mhm.
that were compiled. So, I mean, if you do think of it by that aspect, now it doesn't follow the traditional, like, title, different chapter, blah, 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 but if you want to look at it that way, it is very much a collection of short scenes. I'll agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
I do like how Art gets kicked out of the restaurant for smearing fucking shit all over the walls.
I love that scene.
It was art. Art was making art.
Yeah.
It's shit art, but it's art.
That whole part is my favorite part of the movie. Like, I love the violence and everything, but
Would it be considered shart?
Shart.
Shit art?
you know,
Shart.
Sorry.
I'm not really tapped into that community, so I don't want to really speak on their behalf.
I mean, can we jump to some of the kills in this movie?
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it now.
I actually like the first one. That you run into at the pizza joint with what's his name, Pizza Steve.
Is that him getting his head cut off?
Yeah. Yeah, and somehow he gets impaled on some kind of flame for the pizza or something. So he becomes like a human candle, or what do you call those candles?
Do they call
Like-
him Pizza Steve, or did you just say that?
No, his name is Steve, and I called him
Oh,
Pizza
I
Steve.
see.
So, I noticed when I watch it, the theme in these B movies is literally normal person has like super strength and super like destruction ability. Like, not one of the characters in any three of these movies is anywhere close to realistic of what a real human is.
No,
I believe in high school we called that retard strength.
Yeah.
You ever get punched in the mouth? Hurts. Yeah. Oh, in the cafeteria. All I remember was a pen flying past my face, and the one kid's screaming, and he jumps over the lunch table and starts hitting the other kid. What is wrong with humanity?
I
It
don't
was
know.
over something stupid.
That's
Anyways.
why we have a plague
He-
right now.
he
trying to
bought the
wipe us
last
out.
cheeseburger in line.
You know what? At Lane Tech, Blue Ribbon. Back then, it wasn't Blue Ribbon. It
No,
was cold cardboard pizza and worse than Speedway gas station cheeseburgers. I will say the French fries were good. They were like seasoned fries. Reminded me of like Popeye's fries. Not as good as Checkers. Anyways, back to Terrifier.
I think we've talked more about other shit than this fucking movie. It's a simple movie.
but I
about
like
a
the movie though.
clown.
That's the thing. I like the fucking movie.
Here's the thing: you have to embrace these movies, and I think as we go through them more and more, I realize this. You have to embrace each movie for what it is. Like if you're watching Wolfcop, you're not watching $1 Million Baby. You know what you're seeing. It's stupid. It's fun. It's violent. It touches the junk food senses. And the same thing with this one. This one's it's not an original premise. It's a murderous fucking clown, but it's violent. It's darkly humorous.
It's a great looking clown, by the way.
Yes, the makeup, the design, beautiful. A lot of the scenes are shot really well. That's like I bring it back to the pizza place. That entire like scene is awesome. It's shot well. It's creepy. Some of the kills get a little just kind of generic, gory, weird angle mannequin being cut in half from the vagine down.
Machine?
The vagine. That is one of the kills. Spoiler alerts, everybody. We're going right into it. One of the murders is a split down the center, starting with the most sensitive side. And
It's from
and
top to
that's-
bottom, but from the bottom to the top.
yeah,
That's where I'm gonna call Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 out on their fucking bullshit. 'Cause
Yes.
that movie's awesome, and it's like, hey, here's the scene that could be cool. We're just gonna shy away from it.
yeah.
And I actually said that to my wife. I said there was a scene in Texas Chainsaw that is compared to. I said, but they fucking did it. Texas Chainsaw didn't.
They spent too much time. The characters spent too much time like on the hooks and on the table waiting to be. It's like the one besides the scene where he cuts his leg off with the chainsaw. But yeah, there is a lack of chainsaw action in the Texas Chainsaw 2003.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is a gore porn movie.
Yeah.
And that's you have to embrace it. If you watch a movie like Terrifier, you're watching it because you're interested in the idea of, frankly, potentially seeing a character being split down the center. It's fun. It's dumb. You're not watching it. They didn't make the most realistic, lifelike model to make it really impactful. It went cheesy and practical and blood everywhere, and that's how it's supposed to be done.
That's like the very first kill is the, I guess you would call it the Ellen lady who fucking gets attacked by the survivor, because that's how it starts. That was pretty fucking cool. I wasn't expecting that to happen, and it came out of nowhere to me. And it was just kind of cool seeing her fucking put her fingers in the girl's eyes and fucking.
You gotta love like the effects like that too. When it's literally, it's just like a bowl of spaghetti that they painted a face on, but it's still awesome looking.
So one of my favorite scenes is when the main girl finds what she thinks is her friend, and really it's Art the clown, and I believe he's like scalped her, the lady in the cat suit.
Yeah, talk about Texas Chainsaw.
And took the chest off of her, and
he went full Devil's Rejects.
Or boomers. We'll get to that reference later.
So that was Tara that he took apart, and that's the sister. I never caught her name. I couldn't remember, but that's the sister that found her.
I don't remember.
Or him.
She's billed in the credits as Cat Lady.
Oh,
really?
That might be why I don't remember her name.
Yeah. There's the credits are pretty interesting. There's Police Officer 1, Police Officer 2, Mike the Exterminator.
Can you
It's a neat movie.
I actually have him down at that too. Okay. So no, the cat lady is the lady with the baby. She's the one with the baby. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, you're right.
So Victoria is the one that the sister that she calls to pick her up from she's in her dorm or whatever studying, and then her roommate comes home with her date. She's like, "Yeah, I'll be there to pick you up." So yeah, that's that. And then Dawn is the split in half. I'm sorry, I actually paid attention to the characters' names because I wrote them down as I was going along.
Out of all the movies to pay attention to the cast, Terrifier is the one.
So much detail. I remember that character. That's Police Officer 1.
The cinematography is great in this.
Because I started doing the same thing. I didn't read the list on there, and I started doing it. Mike the Exterminator, and I started doing Pizza Steve. I started writing them down as I was going along.
Pizza Steve has nothing on Scuba Steve.
But you were saying about when she finds her scalped and stuff. What were you saying about it?
Well, good
yes.
Good way to bring us back. When he finds it, the scalp and stuff. Like it's a quick.
No, just.
I'm trying to keep myself from laughing.
That scene where she goes up to the what she thinks is her friend, or that lady, and Art is kind of just waiting there for her. That's probably one of the funniest scenes in the movie.
To think this movie where we can be like, that's the funniest scene, not like, oh, that scene was funny. Like that was the most comical scene.
Well, he gets up and he starts walking towards her, and he's got the front chest, he's got a wig, and he's kind of like he's
doing like
doing his
the Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bill thing.
That is, I know this is a weird comparison, but like when I watch Terrifier, kind of reminded me of like Sid 6.7 from Virtuosity. Because in the character, he's got all these murderers he's taking inspiration from. Like, in the way he kills people and the things he does, like, clearly the character within the movie is cognizant of all these other murderers and things that have gone on, and he's like bits and pieces of a bunch of them. And I kind of thought about that. I was like, I know it's a different concept entirely. If you've never seen Virtuosity, A, it'll be reviewed here at some point, and B, go watch it right now. It's amazing. But
before we get there, yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting to me how that character kind of like almost like there was a core like terrible fucked up human being, but there was these splinters of different personality that you'd see come out in his form of the schizophrenia was during the killing. Like it's this personality this time slaying him this way, and at least that's how I kind of looked at it. Maybe I'm a little abstract with it though, to be honest with you.
What I also found was how he how the movie got its title, Terrifier, because they show him sitting there with the girl after he drugged her and knocked her out for a little bit and then tied her up. He's showing her weapons, and she's like freaking out. And then finally, when he gets to the saw, she's like, ah! And he's like, this is what it is. And she thinks he's gonna use it on her, and he turns around and fucking pulls the sheet down, and he fucking kills her best friend.
Gets off to the torture and the fear element. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no like maybe he just snapped. No, he's clinically psychopathic.
Yeah,
I do often have to remind myself when watching these movies that people don't watch as much horror movies as we do. Like I have those friends who are like, yeah, I like horror movies, and it's like, no. Like you have to mansplain your response. Like, no, you don't.
So I don't know if you feel the same way. I know you like this movie, but every time I hear somebody tell me, The Witch was terrifying. What?
The Witch in Blair Witch?
No. The Witch.
No.
The movie The Witch, I think 2018, 2017.
Is that the one with the 2 V's?
Yeah.
I never watched that stuff.
When that came out,
it's
the scariest movie ever.
I would argue the movie is unsettling when you think about it.
Here's the thing, but The Village was scarier.
Yeah.
Like the movie. Here's the problem with the movie, and I like the movie, but I was much more engrossed in the like, holy shit, they really mistreat these the woman, and like how terrible their little society was. Like to me, that's where like the horror of that movie comes from, is what the people in the surrounding did in response to what was happening. I didn't find that movie scary in one bit. I found it boring. And when people tell me I'm a horror fan, oh, what was your favorite horror movie? The Witch. Like, I'll give it to you. Heredity. One of the only movies in the past decade where I'm like, they're not going to do that. How are they going to do this? Oh, fuck, they did that. One of the only movies I've had that happen in a decade at least. I can't think of the last one. The last one that I was like, whoa.
No, nothing for Invincible, man?
Well, my first thought was they let Fry Pan Face in another movie. And then my second thought was, boy, do I hate Fry Pan Face. No, you don't want me on that again. I'm energized up. I got my energy in me. I will go off on a tirade about how stupid that movie is and the people who made it. I mean, I wanna put the guys who made The Shed and the guys who made that movie in a ring of death with lions.
Yeah, speaking
with
of
motorcycles running around,
Elizabeth Moss,
racist
that's a
biker
good time
motorcycles.
To bring up our first sponsor, the Church of Scientology. No, just kidding.
If you're not
That's
with
not our
us,
sponsor.
you're dead to us.
So the ratio of how much we've talked about this movie to not talking about this movie.
I mean, here's the thing. It's one of those movies where, what is an in-depth review? Like, the problem is the in-depth review is basically like telegraphing each kill, and I don't want,
Yeah,
that's true.
Like,
I will say,
to watch it because it's worth it. It's fun. It's what a B movie should be. It's just the review is literally like, oh, this is how this person died. Like, that's
I do like that this movie does something that pisses a lot of people off, and it doesn't explain Art the Clown. And
there's no origin.
I can't stand when people watch something and they're like, but they didn't explain the killer, and it's like, that wasn't the fucking point. Like,
well, at first I thought it was going to be a copycat when they showed the video, happening on the TV, and then he comes out, he like kicks the TV and he starts putting the fucking makeup on and shit. I thought it was going to be like a copycat, that he was pissed off that they said that he's dead, and I was like, oh, this is going to be funny. This is going to be interesting. That's the start of it.
I will say.
Well, then when you also get the sense that it's not like a mask, like his face is like fucked up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing though, like that, I would like an origin. As much as I'm happy with they went straight to the like, this guy's just seriously fucked. I wouldn't mind an origin just to see what, and not in like the like, just like the Joker, he fell into a vat of chemicals. I want to see what like turned him into the psychopath, not necessarily deformed. I also want to say, whoever's in charge of cover art for these movies, you guys are killing it. All Hallows Eve, Terrifier, you fucking cover art's killer. I love it. I want to get a tattoo. I want to get a tattoo of Terrifier's cover. I think it's awesome. I can't do that because every time my wife saw it, she'd consider taking the ring off. But
cutting your arm off in sleep, or just like scalping your skin off?
No, I'm a very light sleeper. She's a heavy sleeper. Hey, wake up! Very heavy sleeper.
That's because your wife doesn't fall asleep. She dies, and like Jesus resurrects the next day.
You know, every time she's like, "Hey, can you give me some more water?" Because we have like a Brita filter, and we each have our water bottle. And you know, I mean, so what if some Z-Quil gets put in there? It is what it is. She needs a good night's rest. My baby needs her rest.
Why's the water purple? Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Flavoring. I spilled some grape in it. Don't worry. Drink it all.
Just drink.
But
I think we can. I mean, I know this seems short. I think we can wrap up Terrifier because, like I said, I mean, unless anybody, Lewis, you have anything else you'd like to say about the movie?
no, I mean, I would say definitely check it out. There's gonna be a sequel. It's
Looking forward to that.
It's weird to say. It's like a good looking film. Like
Mhm.
this would be the one like critique review like douchey thing I say. The color palette in this movie is fucking awesome. Like
Yeah.
it looks good.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
It's one of those B movies that's almost deceptive because of its, and this is where it kind of crosses that boundary of like B movie, indie art house.
Yeah.
You know, and those are awesome because that's where you get the scenes like in the pizza place, but you also get the excessive cheesy gore. I think, and we talked about this. I think the week before last, about how now is the time to push it. If you're a horror filmmaker, now, especially with the COVID and all this stuff where everybody's starving for content and the trend is the underground, you things like Shudder don't exist because it's on a downslope. You know, Amazon doesn't do their Monsters channel. AMC Plus doesn't sign on with Shudder because this is on a downslope. People want horror. They want it violent. They'll take it cheesy. They just want it raw. And I think the future of horror movies is it has to push the element. It has to push everything. We're back to the 70s where everything's golden.
I'm back.
You do it. For a moment there, we lost Lewis. But you go for gold in these movies, and Terrifier is one of those ones that, like I said, there's the one kill is a female is murdered from being split in half from crotch down. And it's one of those things where you watch it, and they'd have said like they're not gonna do that,
and they actually come back to it a couple times. It's not just done and over with.
Yeah, when
it comes back and it comes back.
So it is one of those. It's a refreshing movie in like if you are like us to where you grew up watching horror movies, you watch a lot of horror movies still, and and it sounds bad, but there is a certain blood palette you have to get in these movies, at least for me. And if it's like I don't like digital blood. If a movie's got digital blood in it, it just destroys it for me. So like there's a certain aesthetic that will appeal to me, and this is one of those movies where I think because it does bridge indie and
you like the corn syrup blood better than the digital blood.
Every time every time I will take a blood pack. I will take 10 blood packs. I was just watching a documentary on RoboCop, and they talk about the guy the special effects guy literally comes over, and he's like, "This is the normal blood pack," and he shows this small, and he's like, "This is the blood pack for RoboCop's gun because it is a triple bullet, and it has to have more blood. Look how big this is." Anyways,
size of the guy's head.
But I'm a practical effects guy. Like if you can do, like I'm okay with like CG, but when it comes to the violence, like I much prefer puppetry and anything you can do to keep it practical, especially in the lower budget movies, because when you start screwing with budget and CG and you got some dude in a basement doing it part-time trying to make the fucking CG for your movie, go with the practical effects.
You just described yourself.
So for me, there was 3 things that I'm going to say real quick. Your face is awesome. Number one,
I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult. Your face is awesome.
No, because the reaction you just had was just fucking. If you're listening, and you're not watching it, you got to watch too, or watch. But 3 things I got to say for the budget that they had for what do you say 100,000?
100,000, yeah.
I thought the acting was going to be horrible, but the acting wasn't bad for a B movie. There were some spots where
Which
it was
is
just fucking
saying a
stupid.
lot.
Yeah, it was just fucking stupid in certain spots.
I
But
can't say the same about all of the movies on tonight's list.
not even movies with fucking $1 million budgets. Um, uh, you just made me fucking forget the second one.
Bad acting.
Yeah, bad acting. Two is the locations that they had. They had like what 4 different locations, and they used almost all of them to the best that they can. And
I didn't even think about that.
Most of it's shot in a fucking garage. Oh no, 5 because they also did the studio.
Well, isn't there a warehouse one too?
Is that the?
Is it where he splits?
It's all in the same building.
Yeah, right.
That's in the building. That's the garage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the location that they used that was my second one. The third one was it kind of recycled though. That this is where the thing for me about B movies came in. They recycled the sisters, that they really were sisters because they thought the same. They fucking kept hiding behind the car, crawling on the floor.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Just keep fucking running dead. Like when she was going in the basement, trying to use her fucking phone to look at what. That was the only thing that bugged me about it.
White people in horror movies.
But that was the thing that bothered me about it. But your mic cut out there.
We're back.
There we go.
It wasn't muted.
Okay. But yeah, so other than that, we're gonna rate this guy our double hot dogs today.
Yeah, so I guess I'll go. I'm gonna give the man. It's hard to rate B movies. I feel like honestly, all 3 movies I could be like 2.5 to 3.
Okay. So start with the rating on just a movie scale, and I'm talking. This is where you compare it to Shawshank Redemption, Terminator 2, like all your favorites. It goes against everything.
You're going like super high to. All right, well,
any movie ever made. That's the first review.
All right, I'm gonna be.
Of 5-star movies. Where does this sit?
I'm gonna be fair. So, because I'm a horror movie snob, this is like a soggy one, like a soggy single hot dog in a cup of stale water.
No relish.
Out of 5. No relish.
Been sitting on the stove for a couple days.
No, it's fresh.
Yeah.
It's only been rolling since 6 a.m. It's 4
p.m.
Eat it. It's good. I give it to you half off. All right, fuck
yeah. So legit. I'm gonna go 1 out of 5.
All right, Alex. Lewis was brutal on that one.
He was very brutal.
Higher than a 2.
I'm actually gonna do higher than a 2, maybe higher than a 5. No, I'm just kidding. So these are those bad hot dogs we're talking about, right?
Okay, so hold on. I just want to say, what did you fuckers give Invisible Man? Do you remember? Was it like a 3?
I can't remember.
Are you gonna give it higher than Invisible Man?
Me? No.
Alex, that's on you.
I can't remember what I gave. I don't really remember.
I think you guys both gave it a 5 out of 5.
Invisible Man?
Oh yeah,
no.
that was definitely me.
No. I don't even want that in joking on record. I want people to know that this disclaimer is sponsored by the fact that I disdain the movie. It's terrible, stupid. The lead is she's an alright actress, but wet blanket.
Show the video. No,
Clap it.
No, I was gonna give it a 2, honestly, 2.
Okay.
Because I did enjoy the movie, man. It kept me into it. It wasn't bad shit. Like I said, the acting was bad, but it wasn't horrible. It didn't make me feel like I was watching one of our future movies that we're gonna talk about in a couple minutes. But yeah, so 2.
Out of the movie spectrum, I do agree with Alex. However, I'm going with a 2 as well because I do like some of the shots. I think the pizza entire scene is legitimately creepy and it's goofy, but it's also sinister. And some of the shots they have are, like I said, because it borders that indie kind of B movie. On the spectrum of movies, now you got to remember, because it's such a large spectrum, you do have movies that I love below a 2. Everybody who I've ever talked to would give McCall's Navy a -7.
God damn it!
I love that. But that movie is a guilty pleasure. I put when I'm not feeling well, if I'm in a bummer mood or I'm not feeling well, I throw that movie on. I throw Airheads on. Like, I don't know why.
McHale's Navy, is that the one with Tom Arnold?
It's a bad fucking movie.
Up
It's
at the
so
crack of noon, sir.
Was Kelsey Grammer in that too? I can't remember.
No, that's down Periscope.
Oh, okay.
No,
Different ones.
McCall's
Okay.
maybe, and I'm not. We're gonna review it one day. I'm not going into it right now. But anyways, certain movies, if they catch my eye, also will kind of sway that. But yeah, I think two hot dogs out of 5 on the movie basis. Lewis, we're gonna round it to you. I want your B movie scale.
All right, so B movie. So when I think of B movie hot dogs, I think like you go into an all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet, and instead of getting the Chinese food, you get the shitty American food.
Yeah, you do. You make a
So
taco.
Eat
Chinese
pancakes.
buffet hot dogs with stale bread. I'm gonna give this a. I'm gonna go 3.5, 3.5 out of 5.
Okay. I'm gonna have to say 3. I'm just gonna go flat 3 because that's halfway. Reminds me of when the thrift store used to sell hot dogs inside there, and you would go there and pick them
Oh
up.
no!
Yeah.
Wait,
You guys are
sold
very
hot
young.
dogs?
You guys are very You guys are very young. They used to sell hot dogs. No, it was next door. But
Oh, thank God! I was
they were
gonna say
connected.
their clothes were infested. Good God, how many people died in Roscoe Village when it was open?
I had you guys going.
Oh God.
What about you, Matt?
Disgusting. On the B movie spectrum, I'm gonna go 3. Which I understand isn't much higher, but it's not a full fledged concept in my opinion either. You have a great character, you have cool kills. It doesn't have a whole lot of connecting tissue, which is good for a B movie, but it's one of those things where you're hopeful for the sequel, but my hope for the sequel is they don't do what they did again. They look to expand, whether it be the mythology of the character or how he gets things done or how sinister he is. I'm a big fan of character progression. Like Dexter's coming back, and besides the ending being terrible in the first place, I think that if they don't come back where Dexter is 5 times more brutal, unhinged, violent as ever, killing more frequently, he's out of control, that's a mistake. I think if they bring it back where he's doing the same thing again, where he's living his little house life, you do a disservice to the character. Because the whole point of Dexter ending is solitude's the only choice because he can't control it. So if they bring it back any other method besides him being not in control, it's a waste of my time.
So glad I never finished that series.
It's well worth it.
Series.
It's a great
Yeah.
series. The ending is just there's like 4 shows in the history that have ended well.
Yeah.
Let's be real here. So it but hopefully with the revival they do the smart thing and they kind of touch the roots of the first one. But anyways, enough about Dexter. It's good. I just want to see more. I want fleshed out. I want hell if it's got a little bit of a budget, give me a little bit better actresses. Like I understand they're not bad, but maybe we can move it more from the B movie realm into the indie realm.
How do you feel about it going supernatural? Like, do you think do you want to see it? How Terrifier ended? It kind of went supernatural-ish to me.
You kind of have to assume it's going to go to that point because
I don't want it to go like fucking Jason in space, supernatural or.
Well, you got to remember though, these already start. This franchise started with goofy premise already. I mean, even in All Hallows Eve, it was meant to be creepy, but it's a goofy clown coming at you. He acts goofy, so they've already got that kind of that baseline of like this is a goofy, cheesy horror movie. And to me, where they can kind of move up is if you get a bigger budget, you can kind of get slightly better actors. The practical effects will be more fledged out. So maybe next time when it's clearly a mannequin, maybe it's slightly less clearly a mannequin. Like things like that. Small quality of life improvements. I don't want dialogue from him. I don't want him to come back and I see scenes of him and a psychiatrist.
All right, fuckers, welcome back. Was that a good intro?
That is a good intro. I like that.
All right.
Salute.
Oh shit, we're live.
Live.
All right. Second movie, Wolfcop. Enough said. 5 out of 5.
Right,
No, just kidding.
I love it.
I loved it.
So
My wife said, and I quote, "What the fuck am I watching?"
A movie.
So I get my info from Wikipedia as every valid source comes from, and I'm looking up the Wikipedia for Wolfcop. For release date, it says 6 June 2014 instead of June 6, 2014. So that's when this movie came out. runtime of 79 minutes. This movie is shorter than Terrifier.
It does. It feels short too.
Oh yeah, the IMDb says it came out February 25th, 2015 in the Philippines.
All right.
Hey,
God, I
for
wonder
them.
what they
IMDb
thought of this movie.
I mean, not only do you have to live in the Philippines, but you also got to watch trashy B movies.
You have the
But I mean, as far as
What'd you just call
runtime
Aswang.
in B movies, I mean, you really overstay your welcome if they're too long, because the whole movie is really the butt of the joke.
Definitely.
Yeah, you don't need a Lord of the Rings length B movie.
No.
That's true. So budget and box office, I found nothing. Didn't find anything.
$4. It was his family who went and saw it at his house.
Yeah.
Well, it was all shot on location at somebody's farm. It looks like.
And for the audience paying attention from the last movie, I also didn't mention the directors or writers, because these movies are they're
you ain't gonna know them.
For
it's not like the
cast,
Shed director that we all know from all the other movies he's done.
So for
Subway
cast
commercial next week, by the way.
for cast for this movie, I will bring up a couple of them. So you have Leo Fafard as Sergeant Loup-Garou, the Wolfcop, which Loup-Garou is a French word for the wolf or werewolf.
I think he did a great job.
He was awesome. He's like a low-budget Wolverine.
Yeah.
I was thinking he was very much like B-movie Ben Affleck.
Yeah, I could say that.
I thought more like Abraham Lincoln from Walking Dead. Like a very B version of him.
I don't know who plays that. I haven't...
he is...
Walking Dead.
Okay, well...
I don't know who plays the Abraham Lincoln character.
Okay, he's Rick Grimes, but okay.
This movie does star a bunch of other people. One person.
I'm sorry, Louis. You were trying to say Andrew Lincoln? Are you fucking kidding me?
I said Andrew Lincoln. Sorry, I said
Abraham Lincoln. I was
sorry. I was thinking about the fucking debate. And
I thought there was a character in The Walking Dead called Abraham Lincoln that you were referencing.
I took a shot before we started, and I thought about fucking...
Okay, Andrew Lincoln. Okay, yeah. Like
Andrew Lincoln.
Not non-British Andrew Lincoln?
Yes.
It's because that wasn't a shot. That was a cup. It was a cup.
I told you that wasn't no regulation shot glass.
Yes, it is. For those who can see in the video, it is a regulation.
It's clearly bullshit is what they could see. All right, sorry, Liz. We are very sorry.
Andrew.
Oh no, so back to the cast. There's one person I do want to shout out. Willie Higgins, the character Willie Higgins, Loup-Garou's friend. He's played by Jonathan Cherry. He was in one of the Final Destination movies. I think Final Destination 2.
Yeah, the best Final Destination movie.
Okay.
Yes.
He was the one who was doing. Was he doing blow or smoking a joint in the car on the highway? He was the stoner guy.
Yeah, he's also in. I haven't seen Goon or the sequel.
Dude, if you I'm a huge Slapshot fan, and if you like hockey movies, Goon 1 and 2 are really well cast, and they're really good. Like Kurt Russell's kid is basically the protagonist in number 2. They're really good. They're funny. They're good movies. Sean William Scott really plays a good role because he's just kind of like a meathead. Basically, the movie's called Goon because his role is just a bruiser. He goes out on the ice and he fucks dudes up and Liev Schreiber is in both of them as well. I love Liev Schreiber. He is in random roles you don't think he'd be in, like Goon 1 and 2, and he's really good in them. If you haven't checked them out, I wouldn't mind, in fact, doing a double review of those one day. I was just thinking about watching them again because they're really good.
One quick thing I gotta say is House of the Dead is one of the
he's in
first
House of the
movies I
Dead.
watched with my wife.
He's in that
That's a
movie?
bad movie. That's
the movie where Emmy should have left the room and never talked to you again. Yeah, you're right.
All right, so I just wanted to point that out. Go ahead.
But yeah, Jonathan Cherry is in both the Goon movies. I haven't seen them, but he is in them.
They are really good. I do recommend them highly.
But this movie is a Canadian werewolf
And it's
B movie.
obvious, by the way.
It's very Canadian.
Like the
Um,
only way it could be more obvious is like if the characters walked around going, "What's that about?"
some of their accents kind of come through pretty hard.
Okay.
But I don't know. I liked this movie. I first saw this film as one of the Joe Bob Briggs specials, which if you want to know, like if you want to learn some interesting facts about this movie, I'd recommend on Shudder. There's a Joe Bob Briggs episode, which if you're not familiar with Joe Bob Briggs, he does kind of monologue in between the film, but there's a lot of cool facts and
He's
stuff
similar
he
to a
mentions.
Spenguli type.
Watch it before Shudder removes the damn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Well,
like
Hulu
this
has
movie.
it too.
Yeah, but not obviously.
Yeah,
with
but
the
yeah,
Joe
it won't
Bob
be
Briggs
with
one.
the Joe Bob experience. You'll
Gotcha.
be like, I guess I'll pause this and throw this on. And
I gotcha.
But yeah, I love this movie. This movie like knows it's a B movie and it just goes
Yes, it does.
200% with it. Um, yeah, and the guy who plays Willie Higgins kind of steals the show for me for this fucking
he's
film.
got all of the best lines come from him.
Yeah, which I have not seen the sequel.
Terrible.
Is it that bad?
It's fucking terrible. Like it's not
Do they
even
kinda-
it's not even like good on a B movie scale. It's almost like they tried to embrace it more, but it wasn't backed up by the writing. It's got a slightly bigger budget. I'll have to give it another shot, but I wasn't a big fan of the sequel. Another Wolfcop, which is I think is a good name because it's like another 48 hours.
Okay.
So
but
my wife walked into this movie during the werewolf Red Riding Hood slow sex scene, which was just way too long.
It
So
was.
the whole time she's sitting there watching and just looking at me, and then she's like, "What the fuck are you watching?" And then she answered her own question. She's like, "This is something for the fucking podcast, isn't it?" And I was like,
I watched this with my wife, and it gets to the point because it was supposed to like simulate like one of those cheesy 80s sex scenes. And it gets to the point where he's like rubbing her boobs up and down with his wolf paws, and I just kind of like I hear this little "what the fuck" like from her, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, man.
Well, I'm watching it and I'm folding clothes, and then I stop for a second, and then I was like, okay, I'll turn the volume down a little just in case. And then I look behind me and I've got my windows open, and the people across the street can see if they're outside. You know, I'm like, I was thinking about if I should close them or not.
I never. Yeah, and I like how it's purposely awkward.
Yeah.
You know, like the craziest thing is like the most violent scenes in this is his transformation.
Oh,
It's just like he turns in. I do like how like they find his face at one point. They're like, kind of looks like you.
It kind of looks like you.
This is one of those B movies that does have something that does resemble a story, so we can talk about it a little bit. Basically, he's just like a drunk loser cop in a small town that nobody really gives a fuck about him, and they don't respect him. He's basically Hoobie Halloween, and
that's a
I
fitting
still have to
reference.
watch that one.
and nobody respects him in that movie. Like every other Adam Sandler movie, he's a lovable oaf. But he's like a drunk. Like it starts off with him waking up in some random chick's house, throwing up before he gets in the car, puts on his gun and everything.
Oh no, he drops it under the car.
Drops the gun. You know, his sheriff is always on his ass, and basically one night he gets kind of drunk and then kidnapped, and they do a satanic ritual, and Wolfcop is what he starts to become. And from there, it's once again, this is where B movie kicks in, and the story gets thinner and thinner, where he's just basically random encounters that lead to the overarching, like, these are definitely the bad guys that the Wolfcop needs to kill. But with that said,
and there's
handled pretty well.
There's also the subtle play on like the Three Little Pigs, which are
the robbers,
goons, and then Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
That wolf transformation scene though.
In the bathroom.
The first time.
In the bathroom.
The first time I had seen this movie, Like just the whole time I'm thinking like, this is cool, man. This is getting crazy. And then the fucking urinal scene, and you're
Dick
just like,
busted.
You forgot that he went to the bathroom.
yeah, yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, like I said, I was watching that and my kid walked by and I was like, and I'm watching on my phone trying to cook dinner at the same time, and I was like, I hope you didn't see that, and I don't think she did. So
They go for all the cheesy tropes, like he gets a Wolfcop mobile.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
signs
That's one of the
himself.
best fucking scenes.
Well,
Yeah.
that was kind of cool.
I
I didn't
liked it.
I didn't understand turning the lights sideways. That was stupid.
Well, the lights. Well, I think maybe would have redirected because he gets that red glow from the engine, the W that glows. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
But
All right.
he does his Wolfcop mobile, and that's pretty neat. And then the budget of the entire movie, because the movie is relatively low budget, in its aesthetic, but the entire budget went to the barn explosion.
I thought that was CG. I thought that was CG,
No,
but okay.
that was a real explosion, and that explosion was fucking huge.
It did go in cycles though. You could see it.
Yeah, they set charges off, but that went 30 feet in the fucking air. Whoever, when I'm watching that and I see that scene, I just feel like Danny McBride's like, he's gonna shit his pantsuit, and he's like, from Tropic Thunder, he's pressing the buttons. Like there had to have been a fucking pyro guy in the background, just like Danny McBride. That's like, you kidding me? I was on the original Jumanji. I've seen some shit.
Well, my favorite line from Willie during that barn explosion is he's telling Lou to hurry up and get in, and then he's like, "Grab some meth, we gotta go."
Yeah, we gotta go. Yeah, I like that line too. And of course, the drugs become more explosive. Yeah, that scene is my favorite scene in the movie, and it's incredibly gory. I think he knocks off 2 heads in that scene.
Yeah, he does. Oh no, he rips off a face and then he pulls the head off.
Rips off a face, and we were watching The Boys, and we just watched the episode. There's a scene where the Gnocchi or whatever the hell her name is ends up ripping off a face. It's not a spoiler.
Okay, go ahead.
You're an adult, man. Read a newspaper. I don't even know what that means. But yeah, no, there's some good kills, and like I said, it's another one that fully, I think this one embraces the B movie aesthetic even more than Terrifier. Because Terrifier at least has that art house-esque appeal.
Yeah.
And this one was just like, nope, we're making a cheesy, stupid movie about a drunk wolf cop.
Well, I did like the looks of the wolf. Even though you saw him, it looked really fucking cheesy, but it still looked like a wolf. It was like, kind of like a wolf cop, I guess.
Yeah, it's awesome. They leaned heavily into cool ass practical effects and makeup, which makes this movie. And I've seen a trailer to the second movie, and just seeing the scenes of Lou's character in the wolf form in the second movie trailer, it just seems like this movie. I don't know. I haven't seen the second movie, but it seems like the wolf version of him in this movie just looks better, at least from what I've seen in the trailer.
I think I don't remember exactly, but I think one of the big issues I have with the second one is they rely heavy on CG blood. Is, if I remember correctly, one of the big issues I had with it. And it's just, like I said, I haven't watched it in a while, but when I just remember my overall impression was kind of like, no way anywhere close to as good as the original. Because when I went into it, I was like, fuck, they made a sequel. I was excited. Because I really do love this movie. I think I saw this movie because if you saw it during the Bob's showcase, then I saw it way before that. I've watched it when it first came out. I think I watched it because I was heavy into bootlegging movies, and anything that remotely caught my eye, I was like, gonna download that. And I remember watching it being like,
I'll buy that for $0.
I should really be on acid for this fucking movie. One movie that I would love to figure out where to put in that this movie reminds me a lot of is Officer Down. I don't know if you've ever seen Officer Down.
Okay.
It's got the guy who plays Tig. I don't know where we would. I mean, because it is kind of a B movie, but with some of the players in it, that budget's not B movie budget. So we couldn't fit it in there, but it's somewhere we got to fit it in because I do like that movie quite a bit, and it does have the aesthetic of a B movie. You definitely, somebody in there is a Trauma fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so this movie and that movie kind of remind me of each other. But yeah, like I said, I enjoy it. I think it's if you're in for it's one of those things that I'm gonna keep referencing it. It's film junk food. You
Yeah.
don't watch it to say, "Oh, this movie's amazing." You watch it because it's 70 minutes of violence, stupidity, and funny dialogue.
And
So,
it doesn't make you feel like you wasted your time watching it at the end, which I didn't feel like I wasted my time.
Yeah, there's no risk
No.
when you go into it. There's nothing because you know you're watching a cheesy fucking movie, and so you're kind of like the expectations are here. And I think
Yeah.
it's the best part about B movies is you know it's a B movie, so going into it you're kind of like, let's see how fucking bad this is, and then you come out of it like, I really like that movie. Like that's the great thing about a B movie.
That happened to me today.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned Officer Down. That's with Stephen Dorff, right?
No, Officer Down is. He's got a weird name. I can't remember. The guy who plays Tig from Sons of Anarchy, the dark-haired guy.
He's also in Waterworld.
Isn't that based off a comic?
It's.
I think it is.
It is. It's based off a graphic novel, directed by Sid the Clown, which is from Slipknot. It was directed. Corey Taylor's in the beginning.
Oh yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
This Officer Down has a scene.
2013.
What?
2013.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Oh, wow, is it really that long ago?
That is Stephen Dorff.
No, that's not the right movie then.
No, the one he's
It's
talking about.
Officer
He's a dead.
Downe.
He's a cop who came back from the dead.
They figure out how to regenerate him, and that's the whole thing. Downe.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, that's the whole thing. Is he gets regenerated, and it's like a supernatural element. But there's a scene there's a fight scene between him and like 20 dudes, and there's like ninjas and these type dudes and all this sorts of shit. And the scene is set to Everybody Wants Some. And Alex is, and I think of this because I'm also a soundtrack guy when they do shit like that. So it's like Everybody Wants Some, and he's like cutting this dude's fucking arm off. And if you haven't seen Officer Down and you want a B movie that's got a bit more budget and it actually has people in it who have some acting chops, check out Officer Down because it's kind of the perfect combo of it's really violent. It's darkly funny. It's goofy. It's got cheesiness, but it's well done. And and like I said, if you're a fan of Slipknot, it is directed by the clown from Slipknot.
It does say it's based on a graphic novel, a police officer.
Yeah, it's an Image Comics.
Yeah.
Oh, that's by Image. Okay.
Funny enough, I was recently watching the Silent Hill movie again, and it's not good this time either. And Tig is in that movie as well. He plays the one detective.
Kim Coates.
Yes, Kim Coates.
I'm sorry, man. Ever since you brought it up, I can't not think of Abraham Lincoln and Walking Dead.
God, sorry.
No, he's Abraham Lincoln from Walking Dead. Oh,
for those who can't tell, I'm giving him the finger.
I was legitimately confused. Like I had a brain fart where even I was like, "Does not compute."
Yeah,
I was ready to shut down over here. Okay, so anything else? Yeah, just like last week. I hate myself. Anything else we want to say about Mr. Wolfcop and his wonderful adventure?
Let me think about that for a second.
No,
I like how when he realizes that he is a wolf guy. Did you want to say something? I'm sorry. Your facial expressions is making me feel.
Well, stop feeling and be a man. Go on.
Well, there's the twist at the end of the movie where you find out that Willie is one of the cult members.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, have a very like Doctor Who feel by the end of it.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was he realizes his powers and he's being helped by what is it, Willie? He's trying to figure out. Oh,
it's Willie, the sheriff, and then the woman he has the love scene with is actually like a 300-year-old woman.
Well, there's also the drug dealer who's but it gets to the point where he finds out that he's dealing with shapeshifters in a way because he's researching and he's like, do you have books on the occult? He's in the library trying to do research. Finally, what you don't realize
there was one book that was misfiled.
His partner is like the number one cop for all the months. She's like the number one cop, and he's just like the shit end of the stick.
Yeah.
So finally, he finds his break when he becomes the wolf cop.
Well,
that was funny. That was funny to me how
I do find it funny how he's like goes to the library. And I thought of Shay when this
Yeah.
happened, where they're like, there was one book and it was misfiled, and I was like, she'd not be happy with that. That'd be the most
It's been
disappointing part of
misspelled
it.
for years.
It's most disappointing, like the scariest part of this movie for her is like misfiled.
Yeah, Dewey Decimal, bitch.
Not on
How
my
did-
watch.
How could you misplace the book about a cult of all things?
But
Yeah.
yeah.
A good thing if you're ever married to a librarian, if you want to piss her off, just make jokes about her just checking in books all day, and Jesus Christ, she'll end up wanting to stab you.
Yeah, you don't want to walk around the house going, look at how many books my Kindle holds. The second highest scaring job from a Kindle is a paper salesman.
Oh wow.
All right, so
Dunder Mifflin.
exactly. Hey, this is not sponsored by Dunder Mifflin. Anything else we want to say about Wolfcop? I think we like my impression. I do really like it. It's one of those movies where, and if it does seem like the B movie reviews are a little bit less
Quick.
in depth than our normal reviews, that's because there's not as
Not a
much
lot,
to go into. Frankly, to the point where if we go in too deep on these movies, you start just talking about what it's. You're basically Schwarzenegger doing his commentary. Yeah, then this is when I jump off the building and it explodes, and I have the fat man. He's got lots of gas in him, and he's a bomb. That's what this becomes. We're basically just like, then he kills this person. He does it.
I
And we
punched
don't.
him in the stomach and he fought it very loud.
Yeah, he's got
No, and
he's got the watch. It's a Timex, and when it goes off, it goes boom. The fat man goes boom. Sorry.
I think people who go into these movies, into B movies, like wanting to be pissed off because they're so bad. Like I think you're honestly missing the point. Like you have
Yeah.
to kind of roll with whatever these movies give you.
These
And just
movies
kind
are
of-
mindless movies. You're
Yeah,
not really
and
supposed to
just look
put a lot
for
of
those
thought into
like
it.
nuggets of like cool shit, or even those references where you just thinking like, oh, the director just wanted to make this because it looked fucking stupid, or as like a fuck you to a reference to some other horror genre. Like you just have to go with it. And
One of the things is if you have a budget that's fucking huge, like those big budgets for, let's say, Invisible Man or Pet Cemetery.
Invisible Man was only like $8 million. It's actually rather conservative.
But as far as those big budgets go, compared to the B movies, what they can do and how they tell the story, it's a big difference. And whether you have good actors or not, which this one actually didn't have bad actors, they were bad on purpose. Like it was on purpose for this. So this one,
I mean, they're Canadian, so you're kind of hit and miss on the actors. They're either really good actors, or they're like, all right, we get it, you're acting.
half the movies or half the TV shows that I watched when I was growing up were all from fucking Canada.
Oh, so you watched Degrassi, did you?
No, I watched Channel 9 in the middle of the night, and a lot of it starred Bruce Campbell or Kevin Sorbo.
national treasure.
Kevin Sorbo is a red-blooded American. You watch your fucking mouth.
We still got to watch that movie.
No, I watched it the other night.
Pool Man? Is it the Pool Man or Pool Boy?
Pool Boy. That's a B movie. It's not a horror movie, but that is a modern day B movie that is made for the explicit purpose of being a B movie.
We have to watch more of
those. For viewers, if you look up the Pool Boy, you might not get the movie that they're talking about. So just be careful, or you might see something.
Literally,
weird.
just Google Kevin Sorbo Pool Boy. And full disclaimer, the movie has some of the most racist fucking dialogue I've ever heard in a movie. Like, not Quentin Tarantino where they're throwing N-bombs, but it's like, it's overtly on purpose because the whole thing is he's in Vietnam and he comes back and he blames the Mexicans for taking over the pool cleaning business. And he's just a really racist, it's a dumb fucking movie, but if you've got an hour and a half to burn and you're like, it's either this or go to sleep, it's worth watching.
And it's got Kevin Sorbo in it.
Yeah.
And Machete. And Machete. What's his name? Danny Trejo?
Trejo, yeah. Cole the Conqueror. Okay, let's wrap this up. I'm going to go first. I'm going to give Wolfcop, on the movie spectrum, it's getting a 2. I'm going to give it a 2 again. I like it, but I can't justify anything higher than a 2. Come on. Look at all the movies in history? That's ridiculous. Lewis?
Okay.
Movie review.
Man, on like a serious to horror movie, I'd say 2 is fair. Two watery hot dogs.
Oh, I hate them when they're soggy. Go on, Alex.
Or overcooked and they get too.
You know what I did the other day? I did some sausages and I threw them in the oil and I made rippers out of them, and it was the best fucking idea I've ever had. They were so good, so juicy.
On that note, I really did like this one. I'm gonna say 2.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can't justify any higher. So 2 is like 5-star basically.
Yeah, it's either a 1 or a 2.
Yeah, my B movie rating is I'm gonna go 3.5 on this one. I really do like this one. I kind of want to push it to 4, but I'm gonna be honest with you. The sequel, in my opinion, not being as good, does weigh on me, because it's like you build up this great kind of lore that you can expand upon, and from what I remember it being, it just wasn't great. So I'm gonna give it 3.5. I think there's potential there, but it's you're not gonna get another one.
For me, I definitely, in terms of B movies, I'd say this is a 4 for me. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to give it a 4. I do. I don't know. I'm sticking with 3.5.
You still got time to change. I'm gonna go 4 as well, because you said it doesn't go with the history of the lichens and all this. They actually talk about it when he reviews the occult, and he brings the book home.
Yeah, also it's all part of the ritual that kind of starts it all off and everything.
And we didn't even get into that. The reason why he's a lichen now or a wolf is because these fucking what's it called, shapeshifters want his blood to keep them living longer.
Basically, kids, it's hocus pocus without a black flame candle.
If you say that movie 3 times, Matt's wife will break through your fucking wall like the Kool-Aid thing.
She will wake up.
If she will wake up. I say it. She's putting the 4K in the Blu-ray in the player.
So far, it's just one call.
Break that fucking disc.
But yeah, I said 4.
All right, so awesome, and like I was saying.
Oh no, he was in the Spanish show Palindromes or Palindromes.
What? Palindromes?
Same year.
Did you just turn a Spanish show into a sci-fi production? You guys see Palindromes? Well, we blew past that one. Lewis, what's our next movie?
It was from Sweden. Sorry.
All right, you cool cats and kittens. Nope, not gonna do that. All right, guys, welcome back.
I don't have my lipstick for the close-up shot.
Third movie. We're on the third movie. Take us home.
If you lost track now, it's these 2 fingers plus 1.
All right, so the third movie is Satan's Little Helper.
This wasn't a finger 2. This was just holding my hand up. Like, it's awkward to do that.
We are a professional podcast.
This
podcast is not sponsored by 7-Eleven.
So I started introing the movie, but I didn't have my fucking notes open. This movie came out in 2005.
But it feels like it's literally aged like milk.
Fast.
You got a run time of 100 minutes, so this is definitely the longer of the 3. And this movie, honestly, feels a little too long. Watching it now. Budget, box office, whatever number you make up in your head is what I found. So
$400 million. Can you believe this movie made 400 million rubies?
For cast, there is one person worth mentioning.
There's 2 actually.
Alexander Brickle?
No. What is? How do you say her name? Is it Catherine Winnick? Yeah, that's
Winnick.
Yeah,
Winnick.
so she plays Ragnar.
Lothar. Ragnar's wife in the first season of Vikings. She's the sword maiden. She's like one of the main characters throughout the entire show. She was in Wu's Assassin. She's definitely come really far compared to this product.
Well, there's also
Amanda Plummer is in here. She's in Pulp Fiction.
I'd love her in Pulp Fiction.
She's actually, if you go through her career, she's got several movies that you'll be like, oh shit, she's in there, or you'll recognize her. Like, oh, that's right, that's where she's from. But she does look really unhinged in this movie. Like she throughout the entire movie, you're kind of like, just assuming she's nursing like a meth addiction or something.
Some kind of fucking weird thing that's going on.
Yeah, so the just from the opening of this movie, where like you have Dougie, the little kid, and the mom, Amanda Plummer, and you're just like the movie starts like the mom's wearing like the fucking trucker like
The headset,
headset,
yeah.
not paying attention to the fucking kid. The kid is special.
Extremely special.
Well, I mean, like, what kind of terrible parent has a kid walking around saying they're Satan's little helper because of a video game? It's just like, oh, you're just killing all the people, huh? Good for you.
Or even installs this game on every
like
device
buys it for him, and
I don't know what device that was supposed to be.
it was
looked
the
like a GPS.
pretty sure it was the Geo,
P900
the gaming council's cell phone, the N Gauge.
So yeah, I mean,
N-Gauge?
off the bat, like my first notes for this movie is like the mom's a fucking deadbeat mom. She's a weirdo, and the kid immediately is annoying.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, the first thing you kind of think of when you're introduced to the kid is like get him tested.
Yeah, is there something wrong?
There's an issue here. Like he's literally obsessed with being Satan's little helper. Get him a fucking exorcist. I don't know.
And then more develops after this. So,
Which you do the name of the movie Satan's Little Helper. You discover is like a video game that he's obsessed with.
Yeah, it's his favorite game. He wants to. That's the character.
You get points.
Yeah, in the game, you're Satan's little helper. So like, you do heinous acts, you hurt people. It's like Paperboy for assholes.
Exactly. Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but yes.
Or Beavis and Butthead, the side-scrolling one.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
That's a bit young for me, so I don't know. I never played the Beavis.
Beavis and Butthead from '92 is a bit too hip for my blood.
Too young for me. Sorry.
Too much technology.
Paperboy is more my time.
But yeah, it's one of these movies though that like, if you're not a fan of the B movie genre, you can't enjoy this movie. It is so campy, and that's my biggest problem with this. And I do like this movie, but not as much as I used to like it. Watching it, and I haven't watched it in years. And watching it again, I'm kind of like rethinking how much I actually enjoy it. But you have to embrace the full on like, basically these dudes went out with fucking handy cams and filmed the movie.
Yeah, and you also have to think about it too. Is from the time that it was shot, we were this was something new to us, and then we're like what year? Like 16 years later.
Yeah, I mean, back in 2005 when it came out, there was a lot of movies that I was watching that had way worse production. If you ever seen a movie called Session 9, this is around the same time that movie came out. So if you're into the B movie genre, you'll feel right at home with it. But if you're one of those people who just kind of like dabbles, and their idea of a B movie is like, as long as it doesn't have The Rock in it, you're not gonna like this one. But if you can embrace, if you can get past the layers of just lack of budget and cheese and production and all those sort of things, and enjoy the writing and enjoy the stupidity, it's not a bloodbath. It's violent, and at the end it gets increasingly violent. But throughout the most of the movie, it's really not a bloodbath. So it does kind of go a little bit different in that area of the B movie, where it's not a gore porn movie. It's slightly more subdued, and I think that's more lack of budget than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie, I remember seeing it a long time ago and just thinking, because it was so I don't want to say it was so different than what I used to watch, but it wasn't I hadn't seen anything like it, even though there are tons of B horror movies that were so much better than this. I remember the movie being like weird and out there. It wasn't till I watched it today that I like immediately when you meet Dougie's sister and the mom has that line about like, oh, he says he wants to marry her, and immediately like breaks in my head. I was like, wait, what? Like what?
You're not telling him that it's wrong to want to marry your sister?
Well, no, she even thinks like it's cute, like it's funny, and I'm like, what the?
She never even thought that it was wrong.
Yeah, it's not endearing, and then which makes the later comments of "I can see your boomies" even more weird.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, I mean, that woman does not age.
Or
The sister who's played by the woman from Vikings, man. I don't know. I remember I watched her in Vikings and I was like, I am attracted to you. And then I saw Wu's Assassins and I'm like, why do I recognize this person? I was like,
She's 42.
I know.
Oh,
That's what I'm fucking saying. She doesn't age.
she's younger than me.
Like, look
She
at
is
her
a
in
beautiful
05
lady.
compared to where she's gorgeous. Like, we're so worried about the Angelina Jolies of this fucking industry. Meanwhile, you got this 42-year-old goddess walking
You know why
around.
that is?
Why?
Because she did not fucking do the coke, probably. She stayed away from the coke line.
Maybe, I don't know.
That shit fucking...
The thing about it is she wasn't acting in the 80s. It's just because she's a Canadian actress. Everything felt so old.
But yeah, I like some of the kills in this movie are pretty cool. We had mentioned off
And some of the
recording.
fake kills.
Yeah, some of the fake kills.
That too.
Before we started recording again, one of the kills when you meet the Satan character, I think actually the introduction to him, he's on someone's balcony, I believe, and he ends up smashing a cat into the fucking wall to spell out "boo," and then gets like flagged for a picture with some mom who thinks it's like really cute. And
that's one of the funniest things about it too. Is like, for one thing, his interaction with the boy is actually somewhat endearing in moments. When he's giving him like the thumbs up or just overall kind of covering his back, which subsequently makes the turn at the end even more kind of jarring.
Yeah. That scene was actually with Alex, the boyfriend.
What scene?
With the cat for Boo.
Yeah, that's when he places Alex on the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does the one guy who lived in that house in the garden by the cemetery decoration.
That was funny.
Yeah, where he puts a little flower in his hand.
Uh-huh.
The whole Alex thing was stupid because it's like, is he dead? Okay, he's not dead. When is he going to be dead? You know he's going to die.
Yeah. That was one of the things that I was going to say about Mr. Alex there. He's the boyfriend that the little boy fucking hates because they show up and they show up to pick her up from the ferry. I guess they live on an island.
No, well, the sister isn't his sole reason for being in town is supposedly to take the little boy trick or treating, and she ends up coming with her boyfriend, and he feels kind of shunned.
Yeah.
Well, he's a loser.
And they get into just thespian. He's a thespian. He's not a loser.
Thespian.
He's a thespian.
Yeah, the boyfriend is a stupid angle, and then you involve the father for no reason of the boyfriend. It's like literally, I'm sorry, but how old is this guy supposed to be?
Yeah.
You cower from a man raising their hand at you? Like, get out of here.
That's the biggest nightmare.
The comical scene where the boyfriend gets his ass beat by Satan.
He's being thrown into walls and fences and shit. We also haven't touched upon one of the biggest things. What isn't he called? The Big Satan guy? Isn't that his accreditation? Like, it's like Big Satan guy? Like, if you look up his IMDb, his character name is literally, I think, Big Satan
Man.
Yeah,
Satan Man.
Satan Man. He doesn't have a fucking line in the entire movie.
No.
Nope.
Gestures. Lots of gestures.
Yeah, his entire performance is basically mime the whole time. Whether
Which
it be,
I like.
Yeah, you know what it is I think that's part of the kind of like niceness of the relationship between them. Is it's just this kooky little boy and this complete psychopath who is just like, all right, let's do it. I was just out of fucking shit up anyways.
Yeah, where the kid keeps putting these ideas into this already psychopath, and he's like,
oh,
are you Satan? Are you my master? I'm here to serve you. Yeah, and he's like,
why can't we go in there? Are you afraid God will see us? And he's just like,
shaking his head. Yep.
The shopping cart scene is probably my favorite. Going through the fucking parking lot, just hitting people.
Not only just hitting people, but it's like a blind man, and then they clobber the blind man. He gets thrown over a couple cars. Yeah, pregnant woman.
How do you get more points for a blind man than you do a pregnant woman?
Hit the baby in the stroller.
It's honestly every time I'm in my car because I was born in the city of Chicago, and if you ride a bicycle in the city of Chicago and you're an adult, you should be hit by a car.
Well,
So every time I'm driving and I see people on bicycles, in my head I'm like, if I hit him, is that 10 points?
the
Is that
so-
15 points?
the south side there isn't many bicycles because they know they will be hit. If you're riding on a road where you can do 35 to 40 miles an hour, people don't give a shit that you're on a bicycle. Not out here.
You don't have many sidewalks over there.
There are a lot of
On-
roads where it's like long stretches
on-
of no sidewalks. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why you
yeah,
know what it is though? The nice thing about out here is there's tons of side streets. So like you can
yeah.
always take your bike on a side street and coast that for miles. Um so with this the way like we were talking about the interaction, that's really my favorite part of the movie. Like throughout the movie, the interaction between the Satan guy and
Dougie.
Dougie is really the best part of the movie because there's funny dialogues and their interaction between them is funny. Everything else does fall very much B movie flat.
Yeah.
The acting isn't what anybody can call superb or good. The other thing that I still to this day find weird about this movie is throughout the whole movie they make references to his father, and there's no sign that the dude exists. So for 80% of the
just
movie,
out of nowhere.
it's like, are they divorced? Is it all
Right.
Are they lying to Dougie? And oh yeah, your father will be back soon. And then the father shows up, and he's a good father, and it seems like a happy family, and fucking stabbed to death. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but normally in these movies I'm A-okay with that sort of thing, but it annoyed me in this movie this time around.
I think it had to do with his acting though, because like he was like overly cheesy.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
pretty bad.
yeah. His
Who wants
acting
to
was
go to the
horrendous.
haunted house?
So he either was a producer or he was a director that was just in there just to fucking fill a
Either
role.
that, or it was a role that was on screen for 2.5 minutes. They were like, he's got 3 lines. Who gives a shit? Get anybody.
They grabbed somebody off the food. Somebody was eating fucking snacks at the food
Right,
cart.
we're
and shit.
filming this on a $1,700 budget. Get someone.
So I actually see. I think the dad's name is Dean. And
Couldn't
I
tell you.
see
Oh
I
yeah.
see in the credits, he's credited as Was M. Stevens as Dean Holy, credited as Was Stevens. What the fuck does that mean?
I think one of them's his real name, and one of them's his character's name. I don't know.
Did you call him Was Ass Stevens?
Was
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 Ass
ass
Stevens?
Nah,
Was.
man, you a
I don't
was
know,
ass.
man. It's fucking 3 in the morning. We're burning the midnight oil.
Get your was ass out of here.
Was Ass.
Was ass have an ass. So with this movie, I mean, like I said, this is another case where these B movie reviews can't be lengthy because if you go too long, you're basically giving the plot away and just saying what happened.
Yeah. Well, here's something that you were touching on earlier about the CGI versus aesthetics of the makeup and shit. His death was pretty shitty.
Yeah.
What did they just fucking get some pig fucking intestines, fill it with fucking neon fucking red, and then fucking pull it out?
Dad.
Yeah. Basically a hair step away from paper mache intestines.
It was like the color of it. What didn't even, if it was a little darker, it'd be a little more believable.
It was orange chicken flavored intestines.
So there is one thing I want to call out on this movie because I recently fired a firearm within the last couple weeks, and that was fun. But there's a scene in this movie where Alex and the chick, after the father being
Jenna.
killed, they go to check a squad car to see if the cops are there. The cops they're dead in the squad car. So Alex opens the door and gets a gun out of the squad car. Now, while he's talking to Jenna, he has the gun in his hand on top of the squad car. Jenna's opposite, and he's just talking casually with his fucking finger on the trigger.
In the trigger.
And then there's another scene. There's another scene where they stop and they're in front of a store, and he's talking to her again, and the whole time he's just like having a conversation with his hands, and fucking pointing the gun. And immediately in my head, I'm like, how come she's not like, hey, dude, maybe just put that down and then we'll continue talking.
Hey, guy who's never held a gun in his fucking life. How about we
He's a
don't point it
thespian.
at me? Well, that's
He's
the
a
other thing.
thespian.
Like I know I'm not supposed to be rooting against the quote unquote good people, but they literally go into the Halloween shop and he's like, "How about I dress up for Satan for you, huh? How does that sound, buddy?" And he puts on masks and he's like, "Oh, I was trying to represent what my inspiration of my father."
What my Satan
And it's
look
like, you little bitch, this isn't about you, okay? You said you were going to dress up as Satan, not your stupid pussy interpretation of your Satan. Fucking Satan, Lucifer, asshole. Like, if I was that kid, I'd be like, fuck you too. Like, okay, you got an old white guy as a mask. Good job. That certainly represents Satan for the kid who's dressed like a little devil. Idiot.
So I do also have in my notes, there's the scene where Satan knocks on the door of an old lady, and it's kind of drawn out because it takes a good while because he keeps egging her on to come open the window, and it takes maybe a minute or two,
She spills a
and then
candy,
it just hard cuts to her being fucking drop kicked like across the room. Yeah.
Flying.
away from her walker.
It's so good though. That's one of those moments where it's like I love being a B movie fan.
I mean, if this movie is rough for you to sit through, at least get to that scene. It's worth it.
Skip through to like
And then-
at the very
and then
minimum, watch the interaction scenes between him and then that punting of Grandmama.
And then he throws her out of the fucking balcony on a rope, doesn't he?
He
Like he
hangs
hangs
he
her.
hangs her.
And that's where
those
Dougie's bullies.
Yeah, his knockoff Three Little Ninja Kids.
Like also when Satan the Satan man finally comes back to their house and he's just like completely groping her.
Yeah.
Has a completely different body build than her skinny nothing boyfriend. And like literally they go into the room and he gropes her and she's like, "Ooh, you're really into this." And he goes down on her with the mask on.
Yeah, and
Like,
that's
there's-
another thing
there's
where you're
literally
like,
the
did
scene
this
where
movie?
he pours the wine on the mask and literally none of it goes in. And like, what the fuck?
That's another scene where you're like, did this just turn into like a genre on Pornhub? Like,
How
what
old
is
is
this
this
movie?
fucking sister supposed? Like, don't get me wrong. I like the costume she was wearing, of course. She's a
Which was
lovely
owned
woman.
by the mom.
Yeah, the
That was,
horrible
that was
the
mother
mom's
had.
previous. That was
And
the mom's previous costume.
By the way, who puts onions in a Chiquita banana basket? What kind of moron sits there? Onions might be a good touch. She was a goofy woman in this. She was goofier than her character in Pulp Fiction in this fucking.
Okay,
movie.
I was about to say something about Pulp Fiction, but
Say
okay.
it, please.
No, she was pretty fucking far off in that one too.
What character did she play?
Hey, baby cakes. She was the she was the one in the diner.
Fucking hey, baby, get out of here.
That's the name of the episode.
Yeah. I'm like this is one of those movies where like I'm looking for things to try to pull out of it and say without just being like when he kills the guy behind the grocery store. However, I did find that funny though, like how the like tough guy bagger boy's like, hey, just give me the groceries, and he literally just fucking janks him in the stomach with a knife, and into the dumpster he goes.
That he
I'm
stole
gonna
from
be
the same
honest.
store.
If I was working at a small town grocery and someone walked out with a bunch of shit, I'd just be like, okay, bye. Like,
Goodbye.
no.
I mean, this is
No, my
05.
problem.
He was making $7.50 an hour to get stabbed in the stomach.
Au revoir.
Well, I mean, we were there with retail where it's like, oh, they're stealing.
God.
Bye.
It's like, oh no.
Only once did I go outside and I just watched them as they ran around the corner, and then I watched them as they ran down the block. But I never chased them. I just watched them as they went.
I've
Just to
had
see which way they were
confrontations, but they were.
Are you talking
personal
about Blockbuster
confrontations.
Pirates?
What's that?
Are you talking about Blockbuster Pirates?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, but the worst thieves were inside the store.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it
Call
was.
is coming from inside the retail establishment.
It's gotta be a weird thought process to be like, I'm gonna go in that video store and I'm gonna find that one movie
Yeah.
and I'm gonna walk out with it.
I got my my box cutter, I'm gonna
Yeah, oh yeah.
floop, go on in there, get some Blu-rays, get some dinner from the Chinese place, have a good night with my lady. This was before Netflix and chill.
I've got my magnets that I'm gonna use to help me get this thing
Yeah,
out.
this is when Netflix didn't exist like that, and it was instead stolen blockbuster surprise and chill.
Are you talking about the magnet sliders on the case?
Yeah, they would put magnets on both sides and they'd slide it up.
How many fucking times my wife has brought me movies from the library and not unlock them?
Oh, they're real easy though. If they have the same ones as like if they're not in the plastic case, but they're in like the blockbuster case, all you had to do was break them at the center. You could literally
No.
Yeah,
you
and
were
pull it
literally
apart.
able to take the
So-
case in the middle of the case and snap it until you heard the yellow bar snap, and it just came right out. Like just
No,
a
but
little bit
see-
of pressure.
See, no, sir, you don't understand. I'm a man of the future. I will pay $4 to rent a movie that I own and I'm too lazy to put in the fucking Blu-ray player. I will also rent a movie that I just want to watch. But my wife, who wants me to support the library, will
For
bring
free.
the movie home after making me wait for like a week for some other fuck nugget to bring it back. And then she brings it home and the movie's locked. And I'm like, you wanted me to get this movie from your job and you had one job. You had to unlock the box. And then when she unlocks the box, it looks like the disc, like someone
Was
like
scratched.
jumped out
Buffeted
of a
their
car
with it.
and rolled with it. And I'm like, you want me to support your dying business? I could have just rented this off of Google Play. It
Digitally.
pisses me off.
Digitally.
It was on fucking Tubi.
Or I could have watched it on Tubi with commercials.
I agree with you though. I'm kind of a snob now. Like I have an entire Blu-ray shelf with over 500 of them on there, and I will literally, if it's $5 on iTunes, I'm like totally worth it, and I'll just buy it and put it in my fucking library.
I am lazy.
I have to dig into the fucking vault every time, man. I go into my basement, fucking search the boxes,
I'm actually
find what
happy
I want to
that
watch.
If we do watch RoboCop 3, you're gonna end up watching it on an old DVD copy. That makes me laugh. I can take that.
Fuck you.
See,
I'll be
but you
watching
guys don't have a
Crystal Clear
1-year-old.
HD.
I can't find my movies right now. I went to take a piss on the break earlier. There's a Blu-ray copy of Great Gatsby in the bathroom,
Well,
and
that's
I
where
didn't
it should
put it
be.
there.
I do find it funny. It's your bathroom reading material. Instead of reading the book, you read the Blu-ray. Cover over and over.
Of the Great Gatsby
What are you
starring
doing
Lee
in the bathroom so long, Shay? Reading Great Gatsby's. It's like,
Well,
the book?
that's why I've moved my horror collection, but everything else my kid climbs up, and there's just Blu-rays everywhere. There's a shit ton under the couch.
You should make the
So-
wife
Oh.
catalog every movie she has every day she's at work.
At least it's a Blu-ray, and you don't have to worry about it getting damaged. When they were DVDs, that was a lot tougher.
Oh, God.
They got damaged faster.
No scratch protection on a DVD.
Yeah, they were
CDs
they were
were
damaged
worse.
a lot faster.
Remember Walkmans? Like person.
Yeah.
I remember the first CD player I got was open box at Best Buy in fucking Maryville, or not Maryville.
Did it leave a
Michigan.
ring?
Oh, every time if you had a scratch disc, it was like you would hope that you could transfer the tracks to your hard drive from the disc and rip the CD, so you can rip another CD that wasn't scratched and use that. But half the time, the scratch fucked with whatever songs you were trying to put over. It was ridiculous.
Oh shit!
All right, we just went off on a weird fucking tangent there.
Yeah, I know.
Anyways, it's a pretty good movie, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with skip protection, but let's give our reviews. Lewis, I'll go to you for the first one on the out of the movie scale.
Oh man, horror like in the Jesus Christ.
That's right. You're comparing this movie to Casablanca, Wizard of Oz.
I never liked Casablanca, so
Yeah, well, either do I, but it's a classic, so it's easy to go to.
I only know of the Wiz. Get that Wizard of Oz trash
there you
out of
go.
here.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a dang darn hoodly. That's the end.
Honestly, this movie's not as good as I remember it. It plays to like its shock value, and it's not gore porn. It's more just like wacky, outrageous.
It's a goofy movie.
Yeah. God, I want to give this movie like a 1.5, but I'm gonna go 2.
Alex,
Okay.
on the movie scale, what would you? How many hot dogs?
It was very comedic to me. It didn't hold up to what I remember seeing it back then. Only because it's gotten so much different now versus back when I watched it the first time. But I'm gonna say 1.5 because the acting and then just how shit like developed as it went along. It didn't seem like it was cohesive to me. Like, overall, we didn't even touch on half of the shit of how many times fucking Mr. Satan changed his face.
Yeah, well,
And how these people did not fucking realize, and how they did not realize it. That it kind of pissed me off. But yeah, it's a B movie though, so I'm gonna say 1.5.
On the movie scale, I gotta give it like a half a star or a half a hot dog. Like, I mean, if I give it one whole hot dog, then it's like.
We talking like mini corn dogs?
Yeah, no, I love mini corn dogs, so we can't be talking about that. I'm talking like 2:00 in the morning. There happens to be 3 like roller grill hot dogs at the local gas station, and you're like you're like stoned, and you're like, ah, fuck it, whatever. I'm talking that, like one of those, where it's like, is it good? No. Would you prefer to eat this type of hot dog? No. Are you happy that the only condiment they have available is mayonnaise? No. But it still fills you.
Hey, I like mayonnaise on a hot dog. Sorry.
You're a disgusting fucking what?
No.
What is wrong with you?
I got it from J.J. Peppers. It used to be on Addison and Western.
Yeah, well, people also got syphilis from J.J. Peppers. Doesn't mean it's a good thing.
Did they really? Do you have proof on that?
It was a dirty fucking place. Anybody who like went in that bathroom is at risk for something.
Well, I never went into the bathroom to eat, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Who the fuck? I didn't say to eat.
Well, we were talking about eating food, and you just said that you went in the bathroom.
Well, no, I was referencing how dirty J.J. Peppers was. You're syphilis. You're human syphilis.
It was like an 8th grade insult.
I'm going to do the chin now.
Your mom cuts your hair stupid. Fuck you. So, yeah, B-movie review, I'm going to give it... Gosh, I don't know, because it really does go for the B-movie gold, but it's also... I'll give it a 3. 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm... B-movie review, I would give it a solid 3.
Alejandro.
B-movie review. I'm still gonna go. I'm gonna do 2.
Alex is sticking with the 2. He is a man of his principles. Right now, we are gonna go and take a quick break. If you're watching the video, hang out. Won't be long. If you're listening to the audio, you are going to hear from our wonderful sponsor, Anchor, which we do thank for giving us fun. We'll be right back with you.
Thank you, Anchor.
Anyway, welcome back. Thank you for sticking around through the ad. We're going to do our list now. Yeah. What is our list?
What is this list? What is it about?
So this list is, surprise, surprise, it's centered around B movies.
Oh, B movies.
10 B-rate horror movies from the 80s everyone needs to watch. So Alex pulled this list, and he's going for the era that he can remember physically going to the movies to see. The 80s. All right, so, number 10. Chopping Mall. Lewis, you were talking about a little bit about this right before this. Why don't you let us lead us into this one?
Yeah, so this movie, robot gets struck by lightning, starts going crazy. It's set in a mall, but there is no chopping. It's pretty bad, but it is worth a watch. And also, this is another movie that on Joe Bob Briggs, he does a commentary on, so I would recommend getting Shudder and checking that out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, basically, Chopping Mall is it's Short Circuit if Short Circuit was on meth.
Oh, we need to review the Short Circuit.
I'm okay with that. Alex, you have anything to say about Chopping Mall?
I have not seen that one. This is only one of the 2 that I have not seen.
Okay, so we got number 9. This is kind of a classic. Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes.
It looked at it like whoever made this movie watched it and it was like, I could fuck that premise up, and that's what they did.
My wife will not watch this movie. I've tried so many times.
Where he's holding a baseball bat behind him, he's inching closer.
Yeah. Is it Mooney or Rooney, the cop the main cop?
I think Rooney.
That was
Rooney?
I think
I
it's
love
Rooney.
I love how they fucking turn him into a nice little fucking puppet.
One movie that's not on this list, and I'm actually disappointed about, I'm looking through the list, is Ernest Scared Stupid.
Huh? Okay.
I don't know why that didn't make this list. I think what it was is because Ernest Scared Stupid actually isn't a B movie.
It's more.
It had some Hollywood budget behind it. It was it was the last of the Disney Ernest movies. So after that one, they went straight to DVD. Number 8, Toxic Avenger.
The greatest story about bullies, man.
One of the few movies to start off as grotesque and completely X-rated, and be transformed into a television cartoon for children.
He was bullied, man. He was bullied. He was forced to wear a tutu,
just like The Shed.
And he fell into a fucking vat of fucking toxic waste.
Yeah, isn't he from Jersey too?
I believe so.
I mean, I saw.
Yeah, if you
go on, sorry.
New Jersey is gross. If you live in New Jersey, it's gross.
Well, I mean, parts of it are nice. Like, there's some suburbs.
Toxic waste driving around in fucking trucks.
This is basically the story of what happens to the guy from RoboCop after the waste falls upon him. He doesn't, in this version, he doesn't evaporate into liquid. He just, he fucking becomes a hero.
He doesn't get hit by a car either.
Number 7, Puppet Master.
Beats Master.
Them little fuckers were kind of scary to me.
I don't remember this movie all that well.
No?
There are about 13 of these, if I recall. The newest one is called The Littlest Reich. They're all bad.
I remember
and these movies.
The drill.
Yeah.
The puppet with the drill.
That's the gentleman right there with. Oh no, he's not the one with the drill. He has the hook or some shit.
Yeah, he's hooking.
The heavyweight guy that has the drill on his head and shit. And
you got Six Shooter, who's introduced in the third film.
Once again,
I love Puppet Master.
Movies I'm supposed to be afraid of tiny little things. Like, these are dolls. Like, dolls, like, they're the most susceptible to, like, literally, China dolls are the easiest things to fucking break. And I'm supposed to be afraid of these little pieces of shit? You know how many toys I've accidentally broken as a kid? These would be nothing. The only reason these wouldn't be broken in a day is because I'm worried to get my ass whooped by my dad. Otherwise, these be broken too.
Because they're some nice dolls.
Fragile. Sorry.
Fragile. Oh, no. So these movies have an interesting arc in that they started as cheesy horror movies and eventually turned into the Puppet Master dolls are kind of like you're rooting for them. They're like bad superheroes.
Well, they give them
almost... they do become kind of like the superhero.
They're almost like the like Seven Dwarves. They each get character. Each of them gets a different character, but they're all very violent and. Yeah, I agree.
They're similar to Stone Cold in the Attitude Era.
Wow, that's a niche reference.
Okay, it's a weird reference.
The anti-hero. He's the anti-hero.
Well,
90% of our audience has no idea what you're talking about, but I understand.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I think if you're listening to this podcast, there's a 50-50 shot you're a wrestling nerd too. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But the only thing about that is Stone Cold was only the anti-hero because his character had a fuck you. Like, he was still a good guy. Wasn't really a bad guy, but it was more of a, like, down with the administration, man. He was a hippie, basically. A very violent hippie. I hope he doesn't listen to this and send me a letter. I'd be terrified. That man's like 55 and he fucking destroyed me.
Listen to your song, bitch.
I'm gonna drink some wine and then monkey stop your asshole. It's like,
he's got his own beer now.
The interview with him and Undertaker where they're just drinking whiskey together. It's like, that'll be good for the knees tomorrow, Mark. So next one on the list is number 6. It is I've never seen this. It's Basket Case, but it does sound interesting.
What? You've never seen this?
I honestly no, I haven't. Is it good?
Dude arrives at a hotel with his weird Play-Doh looking fucking deformed brother in his bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really fucking
Sounds like
weird.
A Tales from the Crypt episode.
It is, and it's one of those movies where like it just gets weirder as it goes along, but you're like, yeah, I gotta see the whole thing through. It's weird movie.
It even says in the little thing here that it goes from 0 to 60 pretty quickly.
Yeah.
When the contents of the basket are revealed.
Which is his brother. Yeah.
Thanks for spoiler, you fuck.
Well, it does say spoiler, so.
Spoiling the big reveal for anyone who hasn't seen the film would definitely take away from the experience. It literally says it in the list you chose, and I fucking quote, spoiling the big reveal for anyone who hasn't seen the film would definitely take away from the experience. Tell me, Alex, what did you just do?
I spoiled it.
So in turn, you, and I quote, definitely take away from the experience from me.
Yeah, you should listen to Matt because he's a grad student.
Okay.
Yeah, of bullshit economics.
Can you read it one more time? I think the third time, if we read it, it might sound better.
You've had it enough, pig. Number 5. Rowdy Piper. They live.
Way.
The rowdy man.
I know this is a fan favorite of Alex. Alex, take it ahead.
Dude, it's all about fucking the people trying to keep you from seeing what's really out there. They want you to see what's really there.
About the man.
They're trying to keep you down by watching whatever they want.
It's
all
kind
about
of
consume and what is it, buy and shit like that.
It follows the same kind of premise as like a Soylent Green does, where it's very much like push, you know.
Very reminiscent of today, if you think about it.
Well,
Yeah.
you could say that certain people in this country and world right now put on sunglasses where you could argue that the sunglasses now are what they call red pilling. Where you put on the sunglasses, you see that different perspective. I don't think there's a blue pilling. Like you can't take that over from the Matrix.
Are you trying to, yeah, I was gonna say, are you trying to show the Matrix inside They Live?
Well, I mean, there is that new theory. Did you read that? That there's a 50-50 shot that we're all in a simulation and this isn't even real. Scientists, I don't know which scientist, probably Bill Nye, the fucking engineer guy. But
is it headed by the Wachowski sisters?
We're in a simulation, and it's Matrix 4 is about a transformation. They live.
Sauce.
I passed me the They Live has had actually a cultural impact because if you've never seen They Live, but you are familiar, whether it be from Duke Nukem or whatever, if you're familiar with the expression, I'm ready to, chew bubblegum and kick-ass chew bubblegum and I'm all out of gum, you can thank They Live for that, at the minimum, that it gave culture that saying. So at a minimum, if you hate the movie, never seen it, respect it for what it's added.
You know, this was actually a bad B movie, but without Roddy Piper, it would never have been a cult fucking movie.
Well, never.
Without Roddy Piper, it would be Dead Heat with Joe Piscopo.
Nah.
That's the thing. Like, Piper makes this movie.
Yeah.
All good on the old Piper?
Yeah.
I love the movie, though, yeah.
Number 4 is a great one, Reanimator. I personally really like this movie a lot.
Yeah, this is by
I remember watching this on VHS.
Gordon did, I believe, 2 other H.P. Lovecraft films. He did, I can't think of their names, so whatever they are, he did them.
Well, the nice
but yeah,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, so this is based off a H.P. Lovecraft story that Lovecraft actually wrote as a joke. And oddly enough, this is like one of his most well-known stories.
It's I like the fact that, like, when you see Lovecraft movies are based upon the works of Lovecraft, they're more sci-fi than anything. There's not a whole lot of them that, even a lot of them that go into the horror genre, they're still pretty mellow considering. I like that Reanimator wasn't. It took H.P. Lovecraft and it gave it that horror twist, and it really it didn't hold back. Which I think when you see that sort, like, look, we did Color of Space is H.G. Wells inspired, and they're another one that kind of went more horror than sci-fi for one of the first times I've seen for these type works. So I like this one a lot.
Real quick, did you say Stuart Gordon or Joe Gordon?
Stuart Gordon.
Okay. Fortress was one with
Lambert. That movie's awesome.
Yeah. Christopher Lambert, yeah.
You ever seen Fortress? It's another one of those movies that as a kid I got happy because they have a co-ed showering scene. Just like when I would watch Starship Troopers, and I'm like, boobies! I'm literally the kid from Satan's Little Helper. I'm like, boomies in my TV.
He's got something coming up pretty soon called Shrunk.
Are you talking about Stuart Gordon? Because he's dead.
Well, I clicked on Stuart Gordon. Yeah,
It says it's
my-
in post
Oh
production.
yeah, it said he died in March.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was post production. This is something he was working on when he passed. Shrunk.
Stuart Gordon also did Castle Freak, which is a weird movie. He also did a movie, man. I don't know if you remember this
Honey,
when
we
we were
shrunk
younger.
ourselves.
Did a movie called The Dentist. It was a horror movie.
Yeah.
Fucking scarred me for
I
That's the
do
same
remember
actor
that movie,
from.
yeah.
That's the same actor from fucking Darkman.
Who? This is not
The
Liam Neeson's Darkman.
no. The other one.
Oh,
shit.
I'm a dumbass. So the other two Lovecraft movies Stuart Gordon did, he did adaptation of Dagon, and he did From Beyond, which are also both fantastic films if you like Reanimator. Dagon's not as great, but From Beyond takes Reanimator and like times 10.
I think I've seen that one. It's been a long
Corbin-
time if I have.
Corbin Bernstein is the first dentist. The second one
Corbin
is.
Bernstein's awesome. I like him.
Oh, it's
Oh,
still
dude,
the
that
same one.
movie.
It's still the same one, but no. But I thought I could have swore that what's it? Oh no, he's Dr. Giggles. He's a dentist too. He's also Darkman. So yeah, I confused the two, but he was a dentist. So Corbin Bernstein, yeah, nice.
We all good on Reanimator?
Yes, sir.
We are.
Moving on to number 3. This is really a turd loaf.
As a Stephen King fan, I have to apologize for this movie.
It's written and directed by Mr. King himself, Maximum Overdrive. I'm going to give you a brief description of what the premise involves.
Please do, because I have not seen this one.
It's terrible. Premise revolves around machines gaining sentience thanks to an errant comet. So basically they get artificial intelligence basically from a comet. The vehicles being the main source of terror. These once man-made objects turn on their creators in a classic uprising sci-fi trope. It's fun to watch, and it features a rockin' soundtrack by King's favorite band, AC/DC. Another reason why I don't like King. AC/DC. I'm like, come on. Like,
Yeah, I like maybe one or two songs from AC/DC. I don't like AC/DC.
Like I like the song Balls. I think Back in Black, Dirty Deeds. But it's like if you told me, hey, for 8 hours today, I need you to put on headphones and listen to AC/DC, probably fucking kill myself. I couldn't do it. Like, if you told me, hey, we're going to go get drunk in a bar and I'm going to put $20 in the jukebox and play some AC/DC, I'm like, yeah.
Don't they say that? Go ahead.
You told me right now to put on Spotify and listen to one of their entire albums. It's Amityville Horror up in this motherfucker.
No.
So there's like one of their songs. I think it's I Got the Jack or whatever. It's supposed to be them getting some kind of STD.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that true, or is that like one of those?
I mean, I don't know.
Old wives' tales and
Probably.
shit like that.
I mean, it was the 80s, dude. Like,
he's got the jack.
And like they're from England, so they weren't getting like Hollywood. They were toothless farm girls. Sorry for any of our European followers. It was a joke. Number 2, I mean, amazing Evil Dead, bruh. And it does says parentheses the Sam Raimi trilogy, which, I mean, I love all 3 of those movies, but Evil Dead 2 is less of a B movie by a lot. It's just cheesy because it's old and low budget, and Army of Darkness wasn't a B movie at all.
And as it went along, this guy fucking he got more of those one-liners and shit like that.
Did you ever watch the show?
No, I haven't finished it.
Dude,
I watched I think the first season, but I didn't get to finish all of
If
it.
you're an Evil Dead fan, man, it's so the show.
Yeah, the show
got
is
canceled after 3 seasons abruptly.
But did they end it or no?
Nah, man, they fuck it over is what they do. But
see, that's why I can't.
It's worth it because it's like Bruce Campbell's not like overly fat or anything. He's not out of shape. He's still funny as fuck. He's still got the same quick wit, and it's Raimi directing. At least in the first season, Raimi directs most of the episodes. Like the show itself, I thought was amazing. I was pissed off when they canceled it.
Did you like his Spider-Man versions or no?
I like number 1 and 2. I like number 2 is probably my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time, of any of the Spider-Man movies. Number 3 was a heaping pile of shit. Number 1.
Wait, you don't like Topher Grace's Venom? What are you talking about?
No, I thought he was the worst fucking choice. Like literally, like
Just fuck with
He's in CG 90% of the movie. You can't cast like Brock Lesnar, who is Eddie Brock, who looks like Eddie Brock.
Topher Grace.
Fucking Eric Foreman is playing Venom. It's almost as bad as Woody Harrelson's Ronald McDonald / Carnage at the end of the other fucking Spider-Man game or movie. That was when he looks into the camera and he goes, "It's gonna be Carnage," with his stupid fucking red fro shit, Harry. Come on. Like that is why Fox Marvel movies or Fox superhero movies fucking suck, because there's an executive going, "We gotta shoehorn this in. We gotta get. They won't know it's Carnage unless you tell them it's Carnage." So he's gotta have a stupid line. It's like that's the problem with movies. Is there's assholes in boardrooms that are making up what should go in the fucking movies. The same asshole who goes, "Topher Grace is really hot right now.
Hey, he was at the time.
I think if we get him in the gym right now, we can get him in Venom shape."
I think that movie would have wrapped up perfectly if Red Foreman came out and called him a dumbass in one of the
You
scenes.
dumbass.
Get back to your room, or I'm going to put my foot in your ass. You're a
Or if he came in and said, "Bitches leave."
Yeah, as I said, which Red Foreman are we talking about? I work for Dick Jones.
I will say before we go to number one, I worked at a coffee place in my youth, and I made Canadian national treasure Bruce Campbell a hot chocolate once, and asked him to sign my napkin, and he said groovy, and that was the highlight of my life.
Groovy.
Wait, what was the other part about it?
What?
Do you want to make my hot chocolate?
Oh yeah, because
Were you staring at him and he was like, "You want me with hot chocolate?" Or?
yeah.
I've been a victim of being starstruck amongst many wrestlers when I worked at the airport, and I know what happens, man, when this shit happens.
I've made a hot chocolate for Bruce Campbell and Bill Murray and his kids, and they were all delightful.
Nice.
I remember one time I met a wrestler, or would have met a wrestler, and then the line.
Hey, I shook his hand, didn't I?
You did.
After he was eating a sandwich. Go ahead.
Is that a cameo by Linky?
That was Yoshi.
That was.
Why he's barking at me.
Yosh. The Yosh.
Yeah, Yoshi, he'll make his appearance on here someday. We'll have to do like Air Bud.
Number one.
I haven't seen this movie in a long time. I have seen it, but it's been quite a while. It's number one, The Gate.
There are a couple scenes that stick out to me on this one.
I haven't seen this in a long time, but I would still argue that Evil Dead should be number one, but that's just me.
I would put Evil Dead over The Gate as well, yeah. But you know, the thing about The Gate though is it's a family movie. Like it's one of those 80s horror movies.
Yeah, it kind of was.
Yeah, it's designed to be a family movie, but once again, it's the 80s, so like they were all on cocaine. They were like, a family movie has goblin murder. You know what I mean? Like,
but even we discussed earlier when picking B movies that Evil Dead was too easy of a movie to pick, and I think it's like the quintessential. When I think of B movie, I think of Evil Dead. That's the first movie I think of.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why the problem with Evil Dead is you can't talk about Evil Dead 1 without talking about Evil Dead 2 without subsequently talking about Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
It really is a trilogy, quasi remake / trilogy. And that's the problem, is it's a rabbit hole that would probably eat in its own episode because we all love the movies.
It all brings you back to Give Me Some Sugar.
Yeah.
I like the story behind the first Evil Dead more than I'm an Evil Dead 2 fan more than an Evil Dead 1 fan. But I do love the story of how like Raimi and Campbell were just college buddies. They wanted to go film this movie. They got a small budget that I think that was financed by like a cousin of Raimi's, who basically financed it by buying him the camera and I think it was beer money. They filmed it in Michigan. And it's just some friends doing something that led to a 30, 40 year long career of friendship and working together. And Raimi exploded in Hollywood. I mean, the first time he did the Spider-Man movie, he was instantly mainstream, more mainstream than he ever wanted to be. And, that led him to movies like Drag Me to Hell and things like that. And as we talked before, if you ever get around to watching the Evil Dead TV show, he was heavily involved in that, both as a producer and a director in episodes. So, The Gate's great, but The Gate is one of those movies that you watch with your kids. It's like, oh, this is a movie when I watched when I was younger, but then middle of it, you're like, Jesus, this is fucking dark. Hold on, pause.
Yeah,
It's one of those.
The one thing that stood out to me. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I would argue Evil Dead is a B movie stuck in a time capsule. I mean, that movie holds up as much as it did when I watched it so much on a VHS tape it broke. Yeah, it's.
I love the franchise, video games, movies. You give me all that shit, I'll eat it up. Alex, I'm sorry, you had something to say.
No, and I was saying though, as far as The Gate goes, one of the things that stuck out to me, and I remember vividly, is the part where one of the kids is dreaming that he's dancing or some shit like that, and he's like moving around. And he's supposed to be like some person that's with him. Turns out it's a dog, and it falls down, and like I don't know if it's dead or not. Yeah, it's like weird shit.
Well, what's also weird about this is this is the Jim Henson era of like Labyrinth and those movies.
Yeah.
So then you have this one, and it is a family movie for the 80s, but it's also got some pretty dark themes. Like it was like at the same time Neverending Story was coming out, you had this hitting the fucking markets. Like that sort of thing.
But yeah, I think the two should be swapped though. Yeah, like you guys said.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. All right. Well, that wraps up the list. There's only 10 entries on this one. I don't know what I like more. I like doing curated lists because it's like stuff that we choose, but I also kind of like going through other people's lists because then I can just dissect the shit out of them. Like, I think the problem with us doing, like, the list of movies we all choose is, like, I love these movies. That's why I fucking chose them.
Yeah.
And with somebody else's list, you can kind of be like, you're off. That's a stupid choice.
Although I will say this is the first list we found that actually was not bad.
No, I mean, they're all legitimately B movies, and they got a pretty good selection. Like I said, I've never seen Basket Case, which is nice to...
And we've either all seen all of them or at least some of them. Like I said, I've only missed 2 of them, and you missed 1.
Yes.
Lewis saw, I think Lewis saw all 10.
I think the writing in the list is starting to bother me more than anything, because it's like I get like you're trying to be engaging and pull people in, but it's like, don't bullshit me. I know what a fucking B movie is. Stop fluffing. This isn't a porn set. What a B movie is. Speaking of B movie, you may have noticed what's behind me. The ultimate B movie. I love this movie. I made us put it on here as a joke, but it's a great movie. If you're a fan of Seinfeld and you got kids, put it on. They won't get half the humor, but you will. It's
and that brings us to our end of the episode extra review. The B movie came out. No, I'm not.
This one's going 3 hours long, guys. 3 hours just for the B movie review.
All Matt talking about the B movie.
I can go on. Okay. I mean, there's Ray Liotta.
We're gonna take a break while you keep talking.
Ray Liotta's character, his entire basically script is him cackling and laughing.
I swear to God, if you put McCall's Navy or the B movie on your grab bag for Halloween, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed.
I don't understand. Man, I didn't even.
Wait, is that acceptable? Is that acceptable?
I didn't even realize how much power I was wielding. Oh, McCall's Navy, huh? It's a horror movie to someone.
You just opened up something.
Fine then. So for next week we were gonna do a grab bag, but we decided now it's gonna be McCall's Navy, RoboCop 3, and America's Greatest Dad.
It's a mix of all of our nightmares.
Here we go. We're gonna throw in a 4th one. It's gonna be the 4th one. It's gonna be a B movie.
We can't do 3 movies that we all dislike for different. I mean, it's just it'll be 4-hour episode of just us being like piece of shit and just going off about it. But you touched on something.
What time is this live gonna start?
I think we're gonna be aiming to start by 10:30 Central for the live, and it's gonna go for a while. We're going to be streaming out to YouTube and Facebook, or Twitch and YouTube. Either way, we're going to be streaming on a couple sources. We'll post on the Facebook and everything about where we will be streaming, where you can find it. We're going to be doing our last episode, which will be the grab bag episode. Everything that we record will be put on live, except for breaks and things like that we'll change up and whatnot. But we do look forward to everybody being there. This episode, which is we normally release on Fridays, I'm going to get this episode that we're currently doing, that you're listening to right now. You should be listening to this right about Wednesday, hopefully Tuesday. But, yeah.
If there's no technical difficulties or whatnot. Yeah,
our first, no shit. Our first live stream of an episode, which is going to be interesting because, frankly, it's kind of a clusterfuck every time we get together. So we're going to see what... We're going to see what happens with that live version. We'll be doing that, like I said, Friday, October 30th. We're going to be doing the live version of the episode, first time ever, streaming out. And then Saturday I'll have it edited up, and we'll get that kind of put up for the actual Halloween. So everybody who is listening, do look forward to being able to enjoy our Halloween grab bag finale episode on Halloween. That does wrap it up for this episode.
I'm thinking that I'm going to drink just straight whiskey for that episode, if that's all right with you guys.
Jesus Christ.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to be nice.
You like your sloppy Joe's extra sloppy. So, like I said, cheers there, friend. Barry B. Benson looks down upon you. We're going to end it here. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please come join us next, and when you hear it, probably 2 or 3 days from then. Come check out the live stream. We will get it all out to you. I am going to sign off for now, and I'll leave it on over to the boys to say goodbye.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, and real quick, we do have a Facebook page, Nerditude Movie Podcast on Facebook, so definitely give us a like. And
we've discovered this new invention called email.
Give us a like, and shoot us suggestions. Tell us what you think.
Follow us everywhere,
or don't, and go fuck yourself. So but thank you for liking us, and we'll see you next week.
Smash that like button. Bye, guys.